because he sleeps with Jordan, Fast and Furious girl.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
This episode of SinCast is brought to you by Mubi, a curated online cinema streaming exceptional films from around the globe. Each day, Mubi introduces a new gem and you have 1 month to watch it. From cult classics to acclaimed masterpieces, every film is hand-selected by experts. Try Mubi free for 30 days at mubi.com/cinemasins. That's mubi.com/cinemasins for your extended free trial. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Hey.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Sher.
Hey.
Everybody's turned into little Fonzies here.
That's right.
And then what's Fonzie like?
It's cool.
It's Regs Correctamundo. He's cool.
I gotta go pee.
And that's what we're going to be like. We're going to be a couple of Fonzies here. We're going to be cool. Speaking of cool, we're going to be talking about the spring and summer movies.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
Hey, kid, I'm putting together a crew.
I'm Telly. I'm here to take care of you.
Sorry I'm late. I was rounding up all the gluten in the world and launching into space where it can't not hurt us ever again.
We're going to do a little preview of those with Ready Player One out as we speak.
That's right.
How does that work? Well, like, yesterday was a Wednesday, and people were seeing that movie.
Yeah.
Well, it premiered at South by Southwest, right?
And there might have been a sneak preview that kind of...
Well, Frank from Twitter saw it.
Yeah, and I had somebody else on Facebook tell me they saw it.
And he lives in Delaware. They didn't have no preview screening in Delaware.
I don't know. I have no clue how people have already seen it, but there you go. People have already seen it, and it's out. It's been out at this point of this publishing of this recording for a few days.
I am reading this as we speak.
There you go.
Oh.
I mean, not like as we speak right now, but
Right.
I have it with me.
In between comments, you're reading it. That's right. So we're going to start with April, because really April starts it off. I mean, I guess Ready Player One really kind of starts it off, the March 29th and everything, but April really starts it off, especially at the end of it when we get Avengers, Infinity War, and all that. So we're going to start with April, and we're going to move our way on to August, and we're going to go through a bunch of movies.
That's right.
I've seen a ton of trailers.
Yeah, me too.
April 6th brings us Blockers.
Yeah. Now I just was seeing yesterday, this is getting really good Rotten Tomatoes scores. Getting pretty good reviews. You've heard me rave about Game Night, and this is scoring better on Rotten Tomatoes than Game Night.
Yeah.
Now I'm all for it. You know, it feels like a comedy comes out like Game Night that has, generally well received, it's generally people like that movie. But if there's another comedy coming on its heels, the odds tell me that one's not going to be good.
True.
We're not going to get two good comedies inside of 3 weeks, but maybe we did.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the first time I saw this trailer, I was like, it might be pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the initial shock of seeing a cock and then Blockers on the trailer was another thing. I was like, oh, they're really doing this. And then the more and more you see the trailer, like, I don't know if that's going to be any good, but man, there's some parts in there. I'm like, I think that might be funny.
I wonder if it's going to be, Jeremy, you made a really good point about Game Night, is that it's shot really beautifully.
Sure.
And that kind of enhances the jokes, because the jokes aren't the big broad jokes. It's like, joking about Denzel when they're trying to build a way out of like the room and stuff like that, or being in an alley and they're, making puke sounds to each other. It's like that silly stuff that really lands.
Yeah.
And if they do similar stuff to that with Blockers, I mean, there's the broad comedy of like John Cena catching somebody and throwing them up, which kind of looks funny too.
Yeah.
But if they get those little moments right, then that's what's going to make it successful.
Yeah, and I'm all for John Cena getting a chance to show more acting comedy chops. He was really funny in that movie you mentioned,
Trainwreck.
Yeah, Trainwreck. And what was it was another one he was pretty good in too, right?
He was in Daddy's Home for like a minute.
Well, and he was a voice in Ferdinand, right?
Yeah, he was Ferdinand.
Yeah, that's what
it seemed like there were a couple of movies that came out right around Trainwreck, and he was in one, not only Trainwreck but something else.
You were thinking about Monday Night Raw.
I was thinking about Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, of course you were.
But it's directed by Kay Cannon, who wrote the Pitch Perfect movies.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Then we have on a much more downer note, Chappaquiddick comes out.
Yeah.
That'll be a laugh a minute.
That's right.
I tell you, you watched this trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
It looks decent.
It looks pretty decent. Ed Helms is doing like a believable Boston accent, at least in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jason Clarke is playing Edward Kennedy, and it's a story that I've always thought is insane that it didn't get more play.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because the Kennedys are behind it.
Well, and when it happened, if that had happened in the internet age, it would have gotten all the play.
Mm-hmm.
It would have, but it happened. It happened before. News like that can spread like wildfire across the country, and it becomes more like rumors.
Yeah.
And then you don't know who to believe.
And there's a point too where he says he's like, we're going to tell the truth, our version of the truth. Yeah. And I mean, Jason Clarke, I don't know if I'm there as far as going to see it in theaters or anything, but I'm there as far as I'm going to watch it.
Oh, totally.
Do we know who directed this?
It was John Karan who did Painted Veil and a movie called Stone, which I barely remember. It had Mila Jovovich has Mila Jovovich and Robert De Niro, and I can't remember. I saw it a long time ago. I was like,
Ed Norton.
Edward Norton.
Yeah, it's like a prison parolee kind of thing.
Something like that, yeah. And
That sounds pretty good.
So John Karan did Painted Veil, but I mean, it looks decent. It looks like a pretty good little biopic, like section of history that we never really have dived into really well before. Then also on April 6th, we have The Miracle Season. This is about high school volleyball team loses one of their. You're gonna regret saying that, considering that the person dies and then they.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
That's why you shouldn't snore until I'm done, bitch.
Snoring the idea of volleyball. I had a movie about volleyball. I didn't know a person died.
Marge, I just watched women's volleyball on ESPN.
Okay, so I apologize. I did not. It's probably based on a true story.
It is based on a true story.
Fuck me. I'm the devil.
It's a high school volleyball team that loses one of their best players in a freak motorcycle accident. and so like the miracle season is that, I guess without her, they don't think they have much of a chance. They're a champion volleyball team. Mm-hmm. And Helen Hunt plays the coach, and and but no, Helen Hunt plays the coach, and it's about them having this miracle season without her, and like sort of playing the season for her and everything.
Okay, not gonna lie, movie still sounds boring.
Yeah.
The trailer itself is almost like a tearjerker, actually.
The guy who directed this, Sean McNamara, has done a lot of family stuff. If you ever go and click on his name, it's like just roll upon roll of credits of just TV stuff for family. When he also did Soul Surfer, that was the other movie.
Oh, okay.
He must have an in with Helen Hunt then.
He must.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll find this is kind of a theme, and over the summer, as you'll see directors who have worked with that actor before many times. You'll see this a bunch when we come through it. We'll get to them, but Miracle Season also comes out on April 6th, and the last one, which might be the biggest one, A Quiet Place.
Ooh. Yeah, man, that's getting a lot of legs, right?
I am officially geeked, and I don't get excited about scary movies,
right?
But there's something about the story of Get Out that has renewed my interest in new directors, particularly those with a comedy background, tackling horror, and of course, it's got amazing buzz and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
but I was talking with Simser about this a week or two ago, and one of the things I'm most excited about is a movie that is going to try and scare me with a lack of sound instead of sound. Because my biggest problem with horror movies is, these days, the modern ones, is how they sneak all these bullshit scary sounds in that shouldn't exist.
Although, technically, aren't we saying that sound is scary in this? Because...
Well, yes, I'm saying the tension and anxiety I will feel as a viewer I am expecting at moments come from quiet moments in the movie.
There is the part in the I'm all in for this movie. I'm watching it. I'll probably watch this in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a moment in that one trailer where the kid just decides to just hang back from the family walking over the bridge.
Yeah,
and
play
just
his
turns
Walkman
on
or
this
whatever.
fucking thing. I'm like, and first off, you're like, fucking kids.
Yeah.
But then you're like, how does that happen?
Why is he even allowed to carry
Why
a
does he
noise
even
making
have that?
device?
Like, you would think Krasinski would be like Santa Claus at this point and just have a sack of toys, just like carrying it, or like put it on a wagon or something and not let the kids have it ever. But no, I'm all in for it. I've ever since I saw the first trailer for this, I wanted to see it. Krasinski directed this too.
Yeah.
And he gets his wife, Emily Blunt, in there as well. So that'll be an interesting movie to watch. I
And
think.
as I learned the hard way, not his directorial debut.
Nope.
Yeah, what did he do before?
A movie called The Hollers with Margot Martindale, actually. I've seen it. It's kind of like a family dramedy coming together over a sick relative kind of. I mean, there's dozens of movies like that. I'm not trying to put it down. And I think he even directed something else.
Well, he did a couple of shorts, I think. The movie that you just said was his debut, his feature debut. This one is really his first big movie.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes, you look at, like Christopher Nolan had come out with a feature before he came out with Memento.
Right.
But Memento was really his first. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's sort of like albums, right? Like
Yeah.
when you talk about like, oh, the first Smashing Pumpkins album was so good, and then someone's got to be like, no, you're not talking about Gish.
Yeah.
You're talking about their first popular album. I'm
Right.
like, fuck you, dude.
yeah. Nobody gave a shit about Gish
No.
until Siamese Dream
That's true.
came out.
That is true.
But anyway, those are all coming out on April 6th. Then April 13th, we have Borg versus McEnroe. That's Shia LaBeouf playing John McEnroe.
Shia is trying to make a real comeback, man.
He is. He's, well, maybe. You know, the movie he's making right now.
Yeah.
Based on his own life.
Yes.
He's going to play his own father and direct the film. And the kid from Manchester by the Sea, I think, is
Yeah,
playing
Lucas
him.
Hedges. I mean, I scoffed at that when I first saw that.
I scoff at it still.
But, I mean, he has had an interesting life up until now, and it's not like he'd be the first person to make, like...
Man, I can take 5 years, do a shit ton of drugs, and make some crazy performance art, and you're going to call that like a journey that's interesting?
It depends on where he is now.
I
don't know.
mean, okay, well, if we want to get real, he's probably mentally unbalanced. He probably needs medication.
There's
Probably
something
needs
going on
therapy.
I saw an article. There was an interview with him very recently, like in the last week or two, and I guess it's because this Borg versus McEnroe is coming out and everything. Where I've seen this before, though. I mean, it's hard to like really like believe somebody when they. But he's like, I realized my mistakes. I know I was an asshole. Blah blah blah. I've seen that before. Where
Yeah.
you have to prove it by just having years and years. You have to do Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
type stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like years of like,
Well,
okay,
'cause-
we get okay. I think you're good now.
Yeah, even Robert Downey Jr. was like, I've learned my lesson and relapsed a couple times.
Yeah.
Like he had to come to Jesus. The biggest problem I have here is that Hollywood continues to think I give a shit about tennis.
Yeah, I know. I
Like,
know.
Tennis in and of itself is one of the most boring sports on the planet. Now, if you're into tennis, good for you. Live tennis, you like to watch it, you want to go to it like Bradley Cooper.
Says the guy who loves golf.
I love golf. And anyone who wants to say golf is boring, I'm not going to argue.
Right.
Because I love golf because I play it.
Right.
And if you play tennis, you probably love tennis. Still doesn't make that shit cinematic. And now we already had a tennis drama in the last 12 months with two big actors. It was an awards-centric thing. And now they're going to do it again. I don't give a shit. I actually grew up watching McEnroe Borg and watched all of those matches. I don't want to relive it. I certainly don't
I
want to
know.
relive
They
it.
were plenty dramatic on their own. As a matter of fact, there's another documentary on John McEnroe
Oh, yeah.
that's coming out later on this summer.
Wow.
So it's like, I agree. I completely agree.
That being said, Shia's life the last 5 years should give him the ability to channel classic John McEnroe for the film.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah. Well, he definitely looks like he's going to be playing the part. You know, he's like, chalk flew up and all that,
Who's playing Borg?
Some
it's
Swedish
a
actor.
Swedish guy. I don't know his name, and I'm sorry to Sweden because I know we have listeners in Sweden, and I'm sure he's a big actor there, but I don't know.
Who do you think what's a bigger group we've apologized to today? Sweden or girls who play volleyball?
Oh, girls who play volleyball, probably.
What about Swedish girls that play?
And tennis.
Because Sweden is just a country. Women who play volleyball is a worldwide thing. Can't just We have the biggest movie of on April 13th is Rampage.
God help us all.
That's Brad Payton, who was a go-to rock director. He did San Andreas and he did Journey 2.
Okay, so he made 2 shitty rock movies.
Yes, yes,
Like,
he did.
Am I the only one who looks at Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle and knows what happened?
Hmm?
Well, like, we're going to get more Rock is a starring in this, like Rampage and the Skyscraper movie, and all these people are just, we're learning the wrong lessons. I saw somebody on Reddit was like, after the success of Jumanji, what 80s classic kids movie would you like to see redone?
Oh, yeah.
I bet we're going to get Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I was like, you goddamn right we are.
Yeah.
Because they're going to learn, they're going to think that movie did well because it was Jumanji. When I'm saying you could take Jumanji off that movie,
Yes.
put all those actors in it, make it a movie about getting sucked into a video game, call it something else, and it would do the exact same thing it just did.
The reason it was successful, I mean, I think the reason that it was successful was the conceit of it.
Well, and the word of mouth.
Yeah, it's not The Rock playing The Rock. It's The Rock playing this geeky character as The Rock. which is what
and sort of
is
making
so
fun of
appealing.
himself
Yeah.
at the same time. And The Rock has become, I mean, if he wasn't already, but I think he's become more of a brand than he ever has.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people just sort of, they don't think they care about what kind of movie he's in
Guess
anymore.
not.
It just, does it look like it's got some action in it? Oh, it's got The Rock too? All right. Well, I'm there.
He's
And-
got a slew of these coming. He's
Yeah.
got like Jungle Cruise, or it's based on a ride, I think.
Nice.
Probably at like Busch Gardens.
Yeah. No
and
idea.
he's got this Rampage and this Skyscraper movie, and I bet you all of them are going to suck. Like, I think this Jumanji was kind of lightning in the bottle, and I honestly think hearing people who have seen it and liked it talk about it, I feel like it was the other actors that sort of made that movie sing, more, not necessarily just The Rock carrying it. And based on the video game, a bunch of monsters that are giant, the trailer,
Well, and-
when he goes, oh, of course the wolf has wings or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to punch you in the goddamn face.
You
Don't want to do that, by the way.
yeah, you don't really want to do that. But like, just taking an objective look at this and forgetting about all the different things that The Rock does and all sort of type of stuff. Remember the fun of Rampage was being the monster smashing the buildings, and now we're trying to stop the monsters from
Oh,
smashing
except for the white ape. He's the good monster.
right. He gets to smash whatever he wants.
I guess that's how they're going for it.
And poor Chicago, after Transformers: Dark of the Moon, we're gonna smash it up again.
Yep.
Oh man, Chicago can't get a break, man.
Man, it got wasted in that Jupiter Ascending movie.
It did.
But then they didn't know it because
That's
their minds
right.
got erased.
See, at least in Jupiter Ascending, they covered it up and they said, we're going to rebuild your city. You're not going to know what happened.
Yep.
It's awesome. Then there's a couple. Sergeant Stubby, an American Hero, which is an animated dog movie. If there was anything that I noticed about, if there wasn't a big theme, remember a couple years ago it was little children running through the woods.
Yeah.
And then last year it was like women partying and all that type of stuff. This year is going to be another dog centric year as far as family entertainment. There's a bunch of these coming out, but this one is sort of it's a dog joins the military, and it's an animated movie. It's really weird looking. The guy directing it has done like war documentaries and stuff. So this is his first, I think is his first like feature, not documentary, but it's still got a war theme to it.
Tell me the name of it again.
Sergeant Stubby, an American Hero.
Sergeant Stubby.
That's right.
Is he going to lose a limb?
I don't know. I think his name is just Stubby.
Why would you name a dog Stubby?
I don't know, because he's stubby. I don't know.
But does he start out missing a limb?
I don't know if he misses a limb. He doesn't have a limb missing.
I'm just saying, isn't Stubby a nickname we usually reserve for people who have lost limbs?
I think
Maybe
it
it's a
also-
tail.
But it could be the tail. Could be the tail.
You know? Maybe
I think anything that's shorter than normal, right?
maybe he just walks around with the boner all the time.
Just saying,
Could
it's
be.
not that title doesn't reel me in. Sergeant
Well,
Stubby.
no,
if
I
it
don't-
was like Sergeant Sparky, I wouldn't be raising any questions.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I mean, that's what I don't know. I was watching this trailer, going, I don't know why this is animated. Why isn't this just like Air Bud in the military or whatever? Some of this animation that they're coming out with, this cheap, like, let's make an animation movie for animation's sake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at it and it's like, there's nothing to this. Why is this animated? That's why it's a question you should be asking yourself sometimes.
Like the
why
Star
is this
that
animated?
just came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to talk about it a lot. Then there's another horror movie called Truth or Dare coming out. It's another, Blumhouse movie.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like they're just the new line, right? Where it's going to be like Final Destination. And
I'm getting a little
stuff like that.
concerned. I'm getting a little concerned.
Yeah.
Because Blumhouse has this reputation,
Mm-hmm.
but New Line did in the beginning too, and then they just started cranking out all the crap, and I don't want to see Blumhouse do that, and it's hard for me. Truth or Dare feels like that fake movie they talk about in Forgetting Sarah Marshall where your cell phone kills you.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
oh, answer my phone.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be good. I do think that there are a couple of moments in here that might get people in the theater, though.
Yeah.
The
faces are the big thing.
and then there's the scene where the one girl is told that she needs to break Lucy Hale's hand,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, and Lucy Hale's like, you're gonna have to do it, because she knows at this point that you're gonna get killed if you don't do it. There is some real stupid stuff, though. The guy who goes in jumps on the billiard table and he's like, I want to show you my penis. And then like everybody's like, no, I've seen it. It's not good or whatever. And then he just like trips over a fucking ball and hits his head on it. It's like Final Destination. It's like Final Destination, and it follows put together. And I think Blumhouse is sort of understood that horror movies now, you got to have that like one little hook, this case being a truth or dare, and then you put all your scary stuff around it. It's the hook that gets you in. It's not really the horror.
Just like what Blues Traveler said.
The hook brings you back.
In
That's
1996.
I ain't telling you no lie.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you know that little rap verse? Do you remember that part?
Suck it in, suck it in, suck it in. If you were in Tintin or in Berlin. See what you do to me. This is not for free.
So in other words, no.
Hey, at least you didn't snore.
I thought I
over
was
the
going to get there.
dead volleyball girl.
I thought that some automatic processing would kick in. No.
April 20th, we have I Feel Pretty, which is the Amy Schumer movie we've talked about before.
That's one of my favorite songs to sing.
Oh, yeah?
I probably shouldn't admit that.
The directing team on this, there's a directing team.
Yeah, well, you definitely
That's
need
the new thing.
Yeah, so you have Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein. They are the writing team behind He's Just Not That Into You, Valentine's Day, and How to Be Single.
Oh, you mean modern classics?
Yes, that's right. I forgot
Don't
to
two of those
insert
three
that.
movies star Ginny?
There's a chance that those movies starred everybody at least twice.
Yes.
He's Jennifer Goodwin is who I was thinking of.
Jennifer Goodwin, yeah.
Between He's Not That Into You, He's Just Not That Into You, and Valentine's Day, that covers like half of Hollywood.
It really
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
But this is Amy Schumer's vehicle, and we talked about it before. There was the controversy about the one publication that came out that said, isn't Amy Schumer really the standard that she's saying that she's not? And we all agree that no, that she's not. And that's the reason why this movie will work, quote unquote. But I don't know what to think of the movie itself. It doesn't look terribly funny.
Did you see that Snatched movie?
No.
With Goldie Hawn?
I saw 15 minutes of it.
Watchable at all?
It's angry at you. It's like it's one of those
interesting one.
You remember how you were talking about how on Veep, like the more recent seasons, everybody's just gotten so mean.
Yeah.
That's what this movie made me feel like. I was like, I can't pull for either of these people. I've never really been a big Goldie Hawn fan anyway.
Really?
So yeah, I turned it off. I probably went back and watched The Informant again.
Yeah.
But I think it gave me a couple chuckles.
Yeah.
I do like that first moment after she realizes she's pretty now, and it shows her walking in that short dress, and you get that song with doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
Doom 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 doom.
Meghan
Yeah.
Trainor.
And she's like,
Yeah.
doom, doom, doom.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Amy Schumer, Meghan Trainor, might as well be the same person. Did you know
Yeah.
Meghan Trainor's engaged to the kid from Spy Kids?
No.
Oh, really?
Really?
I saw this headline, Meghan Trainor engaged, didn't recognize the guy's name, clicked through, and I was like, is that the motherfucking... And it is. It's a kid from Spy Kids.
Wow.
He grew up. I didn't know that was allowed to happen.
Yeah.
But he's like 25 now.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah, it has a couple. I think it may have a couple funny moments in it, but I'm not sure about it. I don't know if I'm like not gonna be like going to see it. I don't think
it has shades of that Jack Black movie a little bit.
Yeah, it
like
does.
Where it's all in your head.
It does have Shallow Hal.
So I wonder if it's gonna separate itself enough.
It's like an it's like a reverse Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
Then you have Super Troopers 2 comes out on April 20th.
Kind of exciting.
funny.
Yeah, I'm
Looks
excited
funny.
about that. Yeah,
I'll go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys have sort of proven themselves. I mean, they're still kind of cult status, but if you're in that cult, then you're going to watch this movie.
Absolutely. You probably donated to the Kickstart.
Yeah, and this I don't think this movie's going to do like gangbusters, but it'll do enough to probably pay for itself.
None of those movies have ever done gang. That's
No.
why they have a cult following.
Yeah. But trailer looks funny, and
Yep.
it's this time they're going to Canada.
Yeah.
And they're like turn into like Canadian Mounties or something
Yeah.
like that.
That should be fun.
Yeah. And then there's another movie on April 20th called Traffic with a K.
Oh,
And it's got Omar Epps in it, and
of course it does.
Yes, of course it does. And I don't even remember much about it. I saw the trailer, and it looks like I think this is what happens. Omar Epps goes to a gas station, and of course there are bad guys at the gas station.
Oh no.
And meanwhile, his girlfriend, I think Paula Patton, is in the bathroom, and one of the bad guy's girlfriend like slips her something in her purse without her knowing, and it's a phone, and the bad guys need the phone. So like there's a point where they're all at a house and the phone rings, and they're like, "Hey, your phone's ringing." That's not my phone. And the bad
It's
guys
coming from inside the house.
it's coming from inside the house. It really is. But that movie's coming out on the 20th. On the 27th, not much.
Yeah.
Just the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's you think? Avengers Infinity War comes out on April 27th.
How excited are you for this one?
I love the trailer.
The trailer was the first Avengers trailer to get me excited in a long time.
The most recent trailer
Yeah.
that you're talking about. Yeah, that's a
In
good
fact,
trailer.
everything I've seen up on Infinity War up until now failed to excite me. But this trailer is very well cut. I still question why all those heroes in that running shot have to be in a horizontal line.
Yeah.
Battle tactics, man.
Other than camera work and photography. But I did something stupid. I watched this trailer and I did a little research on Thanos because I read one fan's reaction to the trailer talking about how if they do this right, Thanos could be the most memorable comic book villain ever because he is in the comics, and Marvel just showed us with Black Panther that they have probably learned a very important lesson about giving your villains something the audience can relate to and hold on to. Now I'm seeing this big purple alien god all the way up until now, and I've never thought of him as anything other than a cartoon, and it's been hard for me to imagine how he might resonate with me as a character. But I've read apparently he's got like 42 different backstories over the years in the comics. They're all tragic, and I don't want to say anything about what I read because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. But,
All right.
Yeah.
but there's the most popular common Thanos storyline. He does something, and I think he's going to do it at or near the end of this movie.
Are you saying that he has sort of a blip of humanity that makes us empathize with him?
No.
No?
Oh, no, I probably shouldn't do that.
I don't need to know. I'll figure it out later, but I was just trying to figure out if I could kind of like skirt the knowing what exactly it is. And
It would be a very, very bad thing.
okay, it'll be a bad thing.
All right.
Now, before then, they might make us like him, give him something for me to empathize with. But I'll tell you what, if this is the way they go, and this is what they do with this movie, I might go from like the least affected by Marvel movies guy in the world to like one of the biggest Marvel movie fans. Like the MCU might do it for me if they go the way I think they're going to go.
You go from 6 to midnight?
I would go from 6 to midnight, just like Jonah Hill. I'm sorry. I'm being so vague because I know
it's good.
There are people out there that haven't even watched this trailer because they don't want to be spoiled. And so I don't want to, if I'm right about what I think they may be doing, I will ruin the movie for you if I talk about it.
All right.
And I don't want to do that.
Yep.
But Suffice to say, this is one of the best trailers I've seen the MCU do, and it's the first one that's got me a little bit excited to see the movie. I'm still going in wary.
And it will be interesting to see all these characters who haven't interacted with each other before interact. You have such a deep history with all these characters, and some of them have never talked to each other. It's kind of like what TV seasons do sometimes, where they'll pair off some characters that never have been paired before, and then they have, like, Game of Thrones does this all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I wonder what kind of conversations they'll have. That's kind of what I feel like with this.
Well, and I hope that it's more than just that, because I think it could easily just be that and feel gimmicky.
Yeah.
Because there's that moment in the trailer where Star-Lord is talking to Iron Man, and it's a funny beat. But if the whole movie is just that, that's what I'm worried about, is that the whole movie is just giving me hero shots, and you're going to love it because these two people are in frame together. So if there's story and character underneath all that carries it through, then maybe they'll win me over.
Yeah.
Because Avengers Infinity War is coming out on April 27th, the next couple of weeks are garbage.
Yeah. Right.
There is one movie in here, and we'll get to it in a minute, that I think might possibly be good, but we don't have to go too far on this. Bad Samaritan is a movie Dean Devlin of Geostorm fame directed. It actually, I don't know, the trailer looked okay. I don't think it's anything that I'm going to go to the theater to watch or anything. But then there's a remake, a gender-swapped remake of Overboard coming out.
Boy, that looks really shitty. Now, the first one with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, actually, was... the concept was creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude just kidnaps this woman who has amnesia and just kind of does his own thing. And I guess because it's gender swapped, it's a little less creepy. But I think in the trailer they call attention to it being creepy. So I have no interest in this. I watched the first one a million times just because I had it on VHS. But going back and watching it, it's awful.
And
Is the guy in this movie? Is he like a Bollywood star or something?
I don't know. He might have been in.
I think he's Hispanic, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's Hispanic, but I think he might have been in that. There was that movie last year that did some business nobody expected, and I think he's in that. Yeah, How to Be a Latin Lover. He's in that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's what I was like. It had to be that guy, because I was like, why is his name like all?
The whole time I'm watching that trailer, I'm just like, wasn't this a role you normally would put like a Channing Tatum in or something? Like, it just seemed a little weird to me.
But Anna Faris is the kidnapper in this one. She plays
maybe the only redeemable part of this movie, because she's adorable in anything that she does.
Yeah. The one movie out of this group in the next 2 weeks that might be good is Tully.
I am excited about this movie. I have no clue what happens in this movie. I've loved the trailer because it doesn't give anything away.
Well, and Jason Reitman and Diablo Cody have done Juno and Young Adult. Both of them are very good movies. And this one seems like a very honest look at life after pregnancy and life after having many kids, or she has like 3 or 4 kids in this, I think. Charlize Theron.
I think I've seen this trailer. What is this?
It's literally Charlize, like, close-up shots of her just going through the mundane stuff of early motherhood and, like, breast pumping and putting shit away and putting
Is this the one with Mackenzie Davis?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
where
So
she shows
kind of
up
like
at
a
the very
thriller
end.
at some point, right?
No, I don't think it's a thriller. I think she hires Mackenzie Davis to be a nanny. And the only reason why they've hired this nanny now is because it's 4 kids now. Mackenzie Davis. I don't remember there being any thriller elements in it, but
well, I mean, it literally, the trailer, and I've intentionally tried not to know anything about this movie because the trailer, she just shows up at the end. She says, "I'm Tully. I'm here to help you," and that's it.
Yeah,
and this team hits everything. Jason Reitman, of course, did Up in the Air too. He did Up in the Air.
Yeah.
No, he only did the sequel, Up in the Air too.
So he's got a great track record.
It just was, he did that. He did that, and he did Thank You for Smoking.
And Extract? Did he do Extract?
No, that was Mike Judge.
That was Mike Judge. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm on board with that. I love Diablo Cody. I even liked that Jennifer's Body movie that she did. I don't think she directed. I think she.
It was. I can't remember who directed that. But I mean, I'm kind of on board with that team and everything because they seem to make some pretty good movies. Even Young Adult didn't get any kind of play at all. And I remember I was working at a movie theater when that came out, and I was like, I'll give this a shot. I like Charlize Theron, whatever. And then I was surprised at how good
really
it was.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one maybe possibly shining moment. They didn't give it much chance to succeed though.
No.
May 11th, there's a movie called Breaking In. James McTeague of V for Vendetta fame is directing this.
This looks like fun.
Yeah.
So Breaking In is Gabrielle Union plays a mom and her kids. She's got like this super high tech house.
It's kind of like The Accountant almost, like where
it's that and like Panic Room or something like that, where she's got all these like this huge security system, and her kids get caught in with the robbers, and she's got to get in and fuck these guys up.
Right. That does look pretty good actually, because I mean, we don't think of like, I don't know, it sort of turns action hero on its head. We don't think of these, moms being like super badass, whatever.
Right. Hell hath no fury like a mother's scorn.
That's correct.
That's the tagline. The tagline actually is "Payback is a mother."
Is it really? Yes. Mine is better.
I agree.
If you were trying to make a joke tagline, "Payback is a mother" is a better joke than the one I came up with.
So the one that we glossed over was Bad Samaritan. That's the one that felt like the Ferris Bueller's Day Off guy, because the guy steals a car and he goes to this, and it's David Tennant who plays the guy's car gets stolen. And if it's going to be David Tennant's car stolen, that there's much more to this than just this guy's joyride in the car.
Right.
He goes to this dude's house and he sees a woman being held captive at this guy's house.
Oh, okay.
So that's what Bad Samaritan's on.
All right.
But yeah, Breaking In is, what's the tagline again?
Payback is a mother.
Payback's a mother. Then there is Life of the Party, Melissa McCarthy. Kind of like Back to School.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like Back to School without the diving.
Yeah.
Without the triple Lindy.
Yeah.
It is Back to School.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're hedging.
Yeah. And another go-to director and actor, like, Ben Falcone, who did Tammy and The Boss.
Well, that's her husband.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right.
He plays the air marshal in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's her husband.
No, that is. And then I don't think this is a remake, but there's a movie simply called Revenge coming out, which I think was supposed to come out last year. Yeah, it looks like I Spit on Your Grave, basically.
Okay.
And in fact, when I watched the trailer, I went down and looked at the comments, and somebody's like, I Spit on Your Grave, Part 3.
Yeah, all right.
Basically what it is. May 18th brings us Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun.
New trailer's looking pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
I think this movie will do very, very well.
Yeah.
Just based on whatever I've seen so far, it looks like they're continuing that energy. They're spreading it out a little bit in the cast. I'm on board, man.
Yeah. There's no reason to doubt until we see a bad Deadpool movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't think we're going to.
It does look funny, and I'm sure most people. I mean, at this point, and I know a lot of people think that Infinity War is going to just carry on over all the way through. This is going to eat some huge chunk into Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, because it's not a superhero movie the way Infinity War is. It's the R-rated bite, acerbic laugh kind of. So yeah, people will be ready.
Yeah.
I think they'll both do very well.
Well, especially with the 2 weeks of garbage that we're going to have before that comes out and everything. The movie will have been out 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks by the time Deadpool comes out. So I think Deadpool will eventually be number one that weekend. You're right. Avengers will probably still make like 30-40 million that weekend, something like that. Big weekend there. And then we have Book Club, which is another 4 old people get together type movie.
This is the 50 Shades of Grey.
Only
right?
this time it's women, and it's 50 Shades of Grey. They're reading.
Oh, I've seen this trailer.
Yeah, and it's
terrible.
got Diane Keaton, and it's got
Ted Danson's ex-wife.
Mary Steenburgen. Yeah. It's got I think Jane Fonda's in it. And Don Johnson Johnson.
He's finally old enough to be in these old people.
That's
comedies.
right. But his daughter's in the 50 Shades movies.
Oh,
and
interesting.
This whole movie is based
there
on.
better be a joke about that.
There better be. You don't get Don Johnson in a movie like this and don't say, "Did you see the movies?" Say, did you see? What about that Dakota Johnson? Huh? That might be too much.
So the premise is basically they have a book club, they read this book, and then they all, in their own ways,
they start
opening up their sexuality.
That's right. They want to start going on adventures and shit because.
Boy, I hope it's full of nudity.
Oh yeah,
Isn't
totally
that
right.
Kevin Kline is in that too.
No,
Probably.
Who's the guy? Oh, it's Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah, Craig T. Nelson.
That has the boner apparently. That
Right,
he gets
right.
pulled over by the cops.
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
yeah.
And she's like, have a good evening.
ED drug jokes are so new.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, to old people they are.
I mean, I swear to God, there's a whole Mad About You episode where Paul Reiser takes a boner drug, and the whole episode is him trying to hide
Wow,
it.
and that was like in the 90s.
That was like 20, 25 years ago.
Then we have another dog movie, Show Dogs, comes out. Raja Gosnell,
Who?
who did Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
Well, and if you count I Love Dogs, which just came out,
Yeah.
it is the movie
Oh,
the
that's
year
right.
of the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
The year of the dog.
yeah,
yeah.
What is that?
is it actually the year of the dog?
I don't know.
Ooh, that would be
No,
amazing
that
if it
would be
really
trippy.
was. Oh, yeah. But Raja Gosnell did Beverly Hills Chihuahua and Scooby-Doo, so he's in.
Down with dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
That
and
first
this is
Scooby Doo was a little better than I remembered. By the way, yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a lot of good people in it.
Maybe we should send it one day, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, Barrett was right about that."
It's a very low standard that I had it at.
Yeah. There's somebody on Twitter who was always asking for Scooby-Doo, wasn't there?
Probably. I'm sure I ignored them if they were there.
The following week, man, this is going to be a really interesting thing. May 25th is Solo, a Star Wars story.
Mm-hmm.
I really think this is going to be interesting with Infinity War and Deadpool still going strong. How is this going to, and people are sort of lukewarm on this trailer. And I think, they should be.
Yeah.
After I've watched this trailer 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
And I just never once am I getting, they're not getting the fun out of this.
Only that one Lando moment feels right to me. That one hero pan up shot of Donald Glover in costume, and I'm like, that I'm interested to see.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing else in that trailer.
It'd be
moves.
crazy to see a Star Wars movie fail, and by fail meaning 100 to 110 million
Yeah,
or something
like that.
I think this is going to be the first of the new era Star Wars movie that disappoints. I think it's going to disappoint critics. I think it's going to disappoint fans more universally, because Force Awakens came out. I feel like generally everyone was somewhere between, it's pretty good, and I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
There were very few that were like, what a piece of shit.
Right.
Even the people who were like, it's a New Hope all over again, were still liking parts of it. The Last Jedi was much more divisive.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like half the population adores it and half the population hated it.
Yeah.
And that's who we're releasing this Solo movie to after 6 to 8 months of news about turmoil on the set, replacing the director, and I just feel like all the cards are aligning, stars are aligning.
And
Not
it's
cards.
5 months after this Jedi movie. I mean, the fatigue will settle in at some point, and I know that Marvel seems to get away with it, but the thing is, I don't know. I don't feel like the same thing with Marvel that I do with Star Wars.
No.
Star Wars seems like if the more it comes out, the more tired of it you could become. Whereas Marvel seems to have a lot of different characters and different stories and that you can get into. Star Wars is always based on, I don't know. Star Wars is different stories, but it just never feels.
Well, this is the same characters though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just doesn't feel like it's a new direction of any sort. So I don't know. I'm going to make oh my God. Do I make this prediction?
Do it. You've been teetering on it since you said the name of the movie.
I think Deadpool's second week beats this movie.
I think you're right.
I think it beats it.
I can't wait to go back.
Now
to the tape.
we're on the same page that Infinity War is going to pass Black Panther.
I don't know if we're on the same page there.
Well, Black Panther just passed the first Avengers. This is the highest grossing superhero movie ever made and the highest grossing MCU film. I think Infinity War is going to stomp it.
I don't think it will.
That's curious.
The reason why is because it's not configured to do that. It's coming out in the summer instead of coming out during a holiday or something like that. It does have 3 weeks unabated, essentially. But it then has to run into Deadpool. It's not like Star Wars where it comes out on a December 17th or whatever and has no competition essentially for 6-7 weeks where it's the only game in town.
Or Black Panther in
Or
February.
Black Panther the same way. It didn't have any competition. The Wrinkle in Time was considered the competition at one time, and we all know what happened to that. This is the same sort of argument that I would have had with somebody back when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out. I heard so many people say, this is going to beat Titanic, easily going to beat Titanic. And I said, I don't think so. I'm not saying that I'm right because I'm right then. It's just that the problem is with Phantom Menace is it came out during the summer, and the summer has too much competition. So I don't. And then this was the first Avengers made $600 million. It was because it was such a build up to that.
Well, and that's my counter argument is that I feel like this is the first MCU film, I'm guessing, that fans are going into truly believing they're finally going to see the payoff that all of these movies have promised. Every cameo in an after credit scene, the first team up of the 5 Avengers, which was great, but when you compare that to the team up that's happening in Infinity War, like I just have this feeling there's so much anticipation for this that. But you may be right. The timing is definitely curious. I would love to see what would happen if we could release Infinity War the same weekend next year that Black Panther came out this year.
Yeah, either that or over the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, I think it's going to come up short. I do think I think it's going to struggle to get to $600 million though. And the only reason is because there's all these movies. You have Deadpool, and even though we're down on Solo now, who knows? Might end up being great. Who knows? But still, you can have those 2 big movies running up against what would normally be where it would hit that next level. Yeah, and that's where I would worry about it possibly getting that far. Black Panther's at 635.
Damn.
So it's going to pass Jurassic World.
Nice. That's fine with me.
Nice.
It's going to pass Titanic as well, probably. It'll probably end up being 3rd all time. So I don't see that. I wouldn't be shocked if it did. I just don't think it's going to. And I could be way out of my element saying Solo is going to not beat Deadpool second week. Depends on, of course, whether Deadpool is good or not.
Yeah.
If Deadpool's not good, then Solo will beat it the next week handily.
Yeah. Well, that's what I liked about the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle story, is that it proves that word of mouth is still the true driver of, good films generating high box office. Because I think that movie came out after Baywatch, and Rock had a couple flops there. Baywatch was a financial flop. Nobody even went to see it. And I think anticipation for Welcome to the Jungle was really low.
Oh, yeah.
But it just kept making money weekend after weekend because people were like, hey, surprise, it's really good. In fact, I read dozens of reviews that said that. Hey, surprise, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
So I love that word of mouth is still important. You can't use an algorithm at a studio to craft a guaranteed blockbuster. You still have, in general, you still have to make something good to truly get something with legs.
Yep.
And then again, we have another garbage dump after this.
Yeah.
June 1st, we have Action Point, which is Johnny Knoxville opens up a theme park and does jackass stuff.
Yay.
Wow, whoopty shit.
And then we have a movie Yeah. And then we have a movie called Adrift, which is another people get stuck out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. I love these kinds of movies.
Is this happening a lot in real life?
This is a real story, a true story.
I'm glad I didn't snore when he said the title.
Shailene Woodley, and it's I think that dude from Hunger Games, the heartthrob dude from Hunger Games.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
dreaming.
Josh Hutcherson.
PETA?
Nah, it's that dude that shows up. He's like the good-looking, he's like one of the good dudes.
Oh,
too.
I know who you're talking about.
He's in this. But
Shailene Woodley.
yeah,
God, I love her.
There's no way I would see this in theaters, but I'll definitely check it out when it comes.
yeah. Then June 8th, we have Ocean's 8.
That
looks
trailer
so
does
shitty.
nothing for me.
It does nothing for me either. There's the one beginning part which I think is sort of mirrors the Ocean's 11 trailer. Is that what that
Where
does?
she's getting out of parole or whatever?
Yeah, and they're talking to her, and she's got that kind of that quirky whatever. I think that's sort of mimicking Ocean's 11, but I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. They're the heist that they're doing here. They're stealing an actress's necklace.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't have the same kind of I don't know. Like, it doesn't. You're not going into a building. You're not doing a lot of. I mean, it doesn't.
This is literally, it's supposed to be his sister, Danny Ocean's sister, right? And it has the exact same beats as Ocean's 11. You put a team together, you have a bunch of diverse people. You know, some of them want to do it, some of them have to be pried away, that kind of thing. You're going after a mark. It's like, do something different. You've got talented people, just do something different with it. Don't call it Oceans and just gender swap it.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, this is lazy. And you could have put this cast together, written your own original heist script, and maybe come up with something interesting. But because you called it Oceans right out of the gate, that's why the trailer is mimicking the Oceans trailer, and that's why the beats all feel the same, and why I don't care about this movie.
Yep.
But there is one part in there that I thought was funny, and Mindy Kaling has a part where they're like, well, we're going to go to the Taylor Swift concert or whatever to do this. And she's like, can't we just go to this? Do we have to do the heist?
And do we have to steal anything? And everybody's like, yes.
Yes. Then there's another movie called Hereditary, which is A24
Looks
back in the
creepy
horror
as
game.
shit.
It does
Trailer
look-
is funky.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's what is it? You have Toni Collette is in it, and her mother has just died, and her daughter has some sort of traits that her grandmother has, and like it's all this creepy ass shit.
Yeah.
And like there's one scene where somebody just engulfs in flames in a kitchen.
There's that, and she builds like doll houses or tiny houses or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, there's weird, creepy imagery in here. I'm not totally on board with everything that A20. Like, did you watch It Comes at Night?
No, I didn't.
I was a little bit disappointed in that.
Yeah.
It was boring. I didn't really get behind any of the characters.
Who's in that?
It's Joel Edgerton and a bunch of other people that I don't know. But this looks like it's got some real potential.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the trailer's cut in much the same way that one was. So, I don't know. I still haven't seen that movie. So,
Yeah, it's not essential.
June 15th, there's hope in the world. The Incredibles 2 comes out.
Yeah.
So yesterday there was a trailer released for a Lego Incredibles game
Really?
on PS4, Xbox, and PC.
Nice.
I will be buying that game. I'm geeked. Again, I said it a couple weeks ago. I do not understand the people who saw this trailer and were not blown away by it. It looks like everything I've ever wanted since the first movie, and I'll be there.
One thing about the trailer, and I'm there too, but one thing about this trailer that it seems to rely heavily on is the Jack character shooting lasers out of his eyes and people barely ducking out of the way and stuff like that. There's a lot of that in that trailer. So, like, I hope that it's not just a lot of that all the time. And there's obviously more to that trailer and everything, but that's one thing that I kept catching up on. I was like, geez, like how many times does he open his eyes and lasers shoot out?
Have you ever played any of the Lego games?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Tons of them.
yeah, but you get the basic. They all have the same basic mechanics, right? Wouldn't it be cool if Jack in the Incredibles Lego game, like you didn't know which of his powers you were going to get when you hit the button, and it was just kind of random, like it appears to be in real life?
Yeah.
That would be rad.
Yeah, that would be.
But yeah, we're there. Brad Bird's back. So we're all over Incredibles
Brad
too.
Bird's back. All right.
Tomorrowland was his last feature?
Yeah.
So it was Mission Impossible, and then it was Tomorrowland, and now he's back on this.
Yeah.
So he's been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All in. And it looks like Samuel Jackson's sort of his character Frozone is kind of playing like a little bit of a takeoff of Nick Fury in this too.
Maybe, yeah.
Looks like they're actually doing maybe some Marvel kind of
Winking.
takeoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also on June 15th, that movie Tag that I talked about last week.
I watched that
Looks funny.
trailer because of you.
Yeah.
Looked pretty funny.
Yeah, it looks pretty funny.
I like
Hannibal
me some Ed
Buress,
Helms.
man, yeah. All those characters get lines in that trailer that look really, really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. I think the fact that you have the Jeremy Renner character is just constantly like, like doing all this crazy stuff. Is it just me though, or do they show that he probably dies? Because there's a scene where they're out by a casket and they're like crying, but it looks like they're crying because they never got to tag him.
Oh, I thought it was just showing that because one guy tags the other guy at the funeral. And I thought they were saying
but-
that they would do it at any situation.
Yeah,
where
no, I agree, but I have a feeling Renner is going to die.
Oh,
and
that's kind of funny.
that might be. I don't know that that's what happens.
You know what it is? He's going to fake die.
Ooh, there you go.
And they're crying because they think he's dead and they never got to tag him, but he's going to show up. The audience is going to think he's dead.
Yeah.
And he's going to show up at the end and have faked his death in the game of tag.
Ooh, there you go. I see. We could have written this movie.
Yeah.
Also coming out is a remake of Superfly.
What?
I'm kind
It
of
looks
interested
good.
in this.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Director X, who's done a lot of music
He's
videos.
done every music video for the the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's interesting. The intro to the trailer that I saw, they basically said Atlanta today is like Harlem was back in the 70s.
Yep.
And so they've set this in Atlanta, and it looks really good.
Mhm.
It look like everything technically looks really good, and it's got this original soundtrack from Future on it too.
Mhm.
So it might be good. It's running up against some stiff competition. I guess it's playing counter programming.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a huge thing.
But like, I feel like they could have come out with this in a different time, and it would have had a better chance to succeed.
Probably so. Have you seen the original?
I have not seen the original.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, Curtis Mayfield soundtrack, is unbelievable, and that's really the only lasting legacy from this. So it'd be interesting to see if this movie is also not really essential, but the soundtrack may be fantastic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
June 22nd, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
And I'm going to give this movie an F right now.
The trailer has done nothing for it. It's another one I've seen, just like Solo. I've seen it 6 or 7 times, and I like that new take on the Jurassic Park theme.
Yeah.
On it in there. I like that. It's real eerie and more violin-y or whatever, I guess. But I don't know if directors matter on these movies. It feels like Spielberg and the team is sort of behind it more than it is the director or whatever. But J.A. Bayona did The Orphanage, and he did A Monster Calls.
So it's not Colin Trevorrow again.
No.
He's a producer, though.
So
And Jeff Goldblum's back, apparently,
yeah.
which
Life finds a way.
only makes me care less.
Jeff Goldblum finds a way.
Yeah, Jeff
Seriously.
Goldblum finds a way back into the...
This Thor movie is going to give him a resurgence.
Yeah, he's going to have like 2 more resurgences before he
Probably, yeah.
kicks off this earth. June 29th, we have Sicario: Day of the Soldado, which I think just means soldier.
This also isn't Denis Villeneuve.
No, it's not. It's Stefano Salima. Or Salima. I don't know. This looks awesome.
Yeah, Benicio's in it, right?
Yeah, Benicio and Josh Brolin, which reminds me, Josh Brolin is in 3 movies this summer. You have Infinity War, you have Deadpool, and you have this.
Wow.
Yeah, all in the first
This
couple
is
of months
summer
of
of
the
Brolin,
summer, yeah.
man. Summer of Brolin. But this looks good. I don't know how it got a sequel. The first movie made $45 million. I guess it's developed that kind of I don't know, kind of a following at this point where they
guess.
could make a sequel, and it's made so much of a following that I heard Denis Villeneuve after Blade Runner say, "Well, I might do Sicario 3." So like I think they're really high on this movie.
Interesting.
It looks really good. I don't know how it'll do, but it's coming out June 29th. Then we have Uncle Drew, which we
Yay.
briefly talked about as well.
Kyrie Irving.
This is going to be a huge hit, right?
It's
It's the
It's
next
going
Space
to be,
Jam.
right?
No.
You think?
I think it might be.
Oh,
I think it might be.
I hope not. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but the trailers look ridiculous.
But a lot of current and former NBA players are playing older versions, including WNBA. Lisa Leslie's in this.
oh
too.
yeah,
But I don't know, man. I think it might be a surprise hit. It's one of those type of movies. Reminds me like of something like White Chicks, where you're like, no, that's not going to do anything. And I don't know if White Chicks ended up doing like a lot or anything, but I just remember people saying, "Oh, I like that movie" or whatever, and it's like, White Chick, the movie's terrible. Movie made $70 million. White
Yeah,
Chicks.
well,
There you
that's
go.
a surprise.
Yeah, so Uncle Drew, man, it might. I mean, if it makes 50, don't you think that's a surprise?
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
And then, okay, I don't think this is an official trailer, but I saw what may be the worst edited trailer I've ever seen in my life on YouTube when I would look this movie up. It's called Valley Girl. I don't know if it's a remake of the Nicolas Cage movie,
Right. but
it's Logan Paul is in it.
Oh Jesus.
And And so like it's got a whole
Was
bunch
this
of
movie even coming out then?
Yeah, and then it's got like Jessica Roth's in it, and it's got Mae Whitman is in it.
Really?
But the trailer that I saw didn't even show those. It just shows, and it's like a whole bunch of stuff where like people are in the middle of sentences, and it cuts them off, and it like goes to the next thing, and it's
I
like
didn't see a trailer for this, so maybe you found a
I think
fan-made.
it might be a fan trailer. So it's one of the worst things I've ever seen though edited, and it's just I don't know. Logan Paul's in it.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Anyway, yeah, it may have been one of those fan trailers. And that's what I can't stand about YouTube is when you're looking for
It's
something
the worst.
and you click on something. I did the same thing happened when I was looking up a Mark Wahlberg movie that's coming out later. And I was watching it and I was like, this is not a fucking come on. Like, if you're going to try to fool people, at least edit it okay.
Yeah.
He's like putting Italian job and shit in there. And it's like, okay.
You want to know a really good trailer? Under the Silver Lake.
That is
Yeah.
a great trailer.
Did you see this?
I didn't see it.
This is Andrew Garfield.
Holy shit, this movie looks bonkers.
Right? David Robert Mitchell, who did It Follows, actually.
Oh, interesting.
It looks insane. It's almost like the plot of Paper Towns that we were talking about the other day, where like a woman, he gets to know this woman and she disappears.
Yeah.
And she starts leaving clues for him and stuff like that. I understand it's not Paper Towns, but he becomes increasingly more and more obsessed and manic about finding out this mystery and
Finding
seeing
the
things.
pattern
Yeah.
in the world. Numbers, letters. to
Oh,
where
it's like
he's
the number 23.
Yes. I got number 23 crossed with Eternal Sunshine vibes watching this. But it feels like it's playing as mostly a comedy. But it's manic Andrew Garfield, which I've never seen.
Right.
In fact, I only watched this trailer because somebody on Twitter had a reaction in their tweet that made me go, well, I got to see that. They're ballsing out over that trailer, and I didn't know anything about it. Sounds like the title of a horror movie.
Right.
But yeah, you would like that trailer.
Okay.
This has got Riley Keough.
Yeah.
Keough.
Keough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riley
She-
Keough.
She's from Girlfriend Experience.
Well, and she was in Logan Lucky, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen Girlfriend Experience?
No.
Then don't talk to me about Logan Lucky.
Oh, yeah? No.
Yeah, she's
Dude,
like
she's
like
a call girl.
Yeah. Is she like the main person in
In
Girlfriend
season one,
Experience?
yeah. Season 2 shifts and shows you two different call girls.
Okay.
But yeah, she's the. Remember when I
Check it out.
talked about the show gives the character a panic attack?
Yeah.
It felt like one of the realest things I've ever seen. That's her. She's the main character that whole season. But
She's
she's
good.
naked in every episode. Don't talk to me about Logan Lucky.
All right.
On July 4th, the first Purge comes out.
Oh, God damn it. We're going back in time?
Yeah. Although
Are you not like a little bit intrigued by this?
No! This has never been interesting beyond the first 10 minutes of the first movie.
You
But
don't
they're
like it?
they're creating a cinematic universe based on The Purge. This would never happen.
Well, this has one of my all-time favorite posters. And all it is, have you seen the poster
with
for
the
this?
red hat.
It's literally just a red hat, a red ball cap saying, what, the first Purge, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they're going to play around with the idea that a Trump-like president brings about changes to the country that create the purge.
Yeah.
Still stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Are you sitting there telling me that you believe the U.S. could end up in a place where one night a year we allow everybody to do crime?
No, it's a movie, but I bet there's little bits of things that you can mine for interesting moviedom.
Well, you should have mined it all in the first movie because it is not a concept that warrants 4 goddamn movies.
I don't know. I for whatever reason I like these movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a problem with them. I've never watched one and gone, this is terrible.
Right. Yeah.
The first one I thought was the best one,
Mm-hmm.
and the other two have good moments in it and everything. I don't know if I really care much about a prequel Purge, but I don't know. Maybe to see how it all came about and everything might be fun. Who
I'm
knows?
not going to be going out to the movie theater for this
No,
one. I'm
no,
just
no.
going to catch it at some point.
That's July 4th. It's actually coming out on the holiday. And then July 6th is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is our third Marvel movie.
Okay, I may be more mad at this movie than the one we just talked about.
Oh, yeah.
You seen the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I have.
That feels like a giant middle finger. That we can shrink or grow any goddamn thing we want at a moment's notice feels like a middle finger to me.
Yeah.
And remember I talked earlier about my Infinity War theory?
Mm-hmm.
I have another theory. Because you know how everybody's talking about how Ant-Man and Hawkeye aren't in the trailer or on the poster
Mm-hmm.
for Infinity War. I have a feeling Ant-Man, the sequel, is going to have Hawkeye in it, and they're going to show us things after we've already seen Infinity War that impact Infinity War. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Almost like that episode of Buffy where Nicholas, whatever his name is off doing his own thing, saving the day, while the gang is having the real adventure. Almost like that, where I think we're going to re-see Infinity War events in a new light with Ant-Man and the Wasp going through them.
I agree.
And I think they're going to use this magic shrinky grow, and it's going to piss me off. he shrinks a whole goddamn building and picks it up like a walking suitcase and walks away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Why do you even need Paul Rudd? Why do you need suits?
Yeah.
You can do anything. You can shrink Thanos down to the size of an army man and step on him. That trailer pisses me off.
Not to mention all the electricity and plumbing and all that type of stuff. I sat there and I saw him lift the building up like a suitcase. And maybe, you know what? It'd be funny if they'd actually do this. But I thought about all the toilets that were in that building and sloshing their water around and everything. Maybe something like that'll happen. You know, it'll be funny if they actually think about that. But Peyton Reed is back on this one as well. So.
Wow, that's who we all demanded.
That's right. July 13th. Really, I mean, okay, let's talk about Skyscraper first. That we briefly touched on it. This is Die Hard, essentially. I mean,
it's not like Die Hard on a bus,
Die
Hard on a boat.
It's
Die Hard.
Yeah, it's Die Hard in a building.
It's Die Hard in a building.
And again, he's working with a guy he's worked with before. It's Ross and Marshall Thurber who did Central Intelligence. But yeah, this is Die Hard all over again. They built this ridiculously tall building that's apparently taller than the Burj Khalifa.
That's right.
And then there's that whole scene where The Rock's like saying like, you know, this building brings up a lot of problems but what do I know? I'm just a lowly security guard.
Yep.
And then you know,
what do I know? I'm just Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah.
It is the return of Neve Campbell, though.
Yeah. Neve Campbell looks better now than
she looks great
than she did when she was doing Scream.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
I think I like her 40s phase more than I like her 20s phase. Then there's Hotel Transylvania 3, which I don't understand is coming out in the summer.
Yeah.
The last two came out late September, just before Halloween. And it did perfectly well for those movies. And both of them have made over $140 million.
Maybe it's because there isn't a whole lot of like straight up, besides Incredibles 2, there's no like straight up kids programming out there besides.
It could be that.
It
could be that they found like after a month or so of Incredibles, there's not anything for kids. And maybe they thought that. And it has a vacation vibe to it. So maybe that's what the deal is. But this doesn't make sense to me.
I've never seen any of the Hotel Transylvania movies, and I'm perfectly all right with that.
Yeah, they're not very good.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
That's Adam Sandler's like biggest movies in the past couple years is
Yep.
Hotel Transylvania. All right, so then July 20th, The Equalizer 2 comes out. I didn't see a trailer for that.
There's no trailer for that.
Yeah, there's no trailer for that.
Oh, Denzel again, huh?
Antoine Fuqua returns with Denzel Washington.
I'll watch that.
Yeah.
The first one wasn't terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch
Which
it.
young starlet will play the prostitute with a heart of gold in this movie?
That's a good question.
I'm going to put my money on Elle Fanning.
Yeah, Elle Fanning. No,
She kind of flirted with that role in Live by Night.
Yeah,
Did you guys see that movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
She's so out of place in that movie.
Also on July 20th, this might be the most egregious. Why did they make this movie? Mamma Mia, here we go again.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's literally in the title. Like, here we go again. As in, like, we're just going to do the same shit.
It's a prequel and a sequel at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they go back to when Meryl Streep looked like Lily James, of course.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Perfect sense.
yeah, and it goes through the whole thing where Lily James is like, I guess, going through all the future Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, and Stellan Skarsgård characters, and then like it goes back to the future where we have Amanda Seyfried and Dominic Cooper. They're having a kid, and I guess the whole thing is I'm having a kid. Let's remember when Meryl Streep was Lily James, and she had a kid, and and then
Meryl Streep was Lily James.
and then Cher is playing the grandmother, which I don't understand. Cher and Meryl Streep have got to be pretty close in age, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Cher's playing.
I thought
Meryl
Cher
Streep.
was like 212.
Yeah, she's 212. Cher's playing Meryl Streep's mom.
She's 71, and Meryl, you should know this probably.
68.
Right?
I think she's
Meryl
born
is 68.
Hey!
Hey-o. So yeah,
3
3
years
years older, and she's playing the granny. There's and it looks like they're just singing all the same songs again.
Oh, really?
Like maybe there might be one original in there so that they can get an Oscar nomination or something. But I think they're playing all the same songs.
Yeah, well, the world needs more ABBA.
Yeah.
Or
You're
ABBA.
right.
Is it ABBA or
I
ABBA?
think it's ABBA.
I think we got enough in Muriel's wedding, to be honest.
You're correct. You are
That movie's
correct.
full of ABBA.
Chock full of ABBA.
Chock full of ABBA.
July 27th brings us Mission Impossible Fallout.
Dun, 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 dun,
Can't wait for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm there.
This
It's going
is
to be
the
the
first
best
time-
action movie of the year.
This is the first time that Mission Impossible has had a same director.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They've gone through 5 and I thought that's what they were going to do. It was just going to keep on getting new directors, but I think Tom Cruise really likes Christopher McQuarrie.
I was going to say, I think he has enough clout to put his foot down, and because of the Jack Reacher films, I think there's some kind of connection with him and McQuarrie.
Well, yeah, and McQuarrie wrote Valkyrie, which he was in,
Yeah.
and I think they've developed a long working relationship at this point, and he's finally found somebody. He's like, okay, we're gonna have every time we do a movie, we're gonna try to get you to do it or whatever.
If he spent a year learning to fly a helicopter for a movie that turned out to be no good, that's going to be the saddest thing.
Yeah,
Like, I'll feel bad for Tom Cruise, genuinely, if the movie's not good. Because what a waste.
man, this is coming out late in the summer, though. I mean, there's some dead spots in June there. They could have come out with this, but now it's all the way to July 27th. And also Teen Titans Go to the movies also comes out on the 27th.
I'm telling you, this is a fun show.
That movie's going
Yeah.
to do well.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though? I saw the trailer and it has more dislikes than likes. And
That is interesting.
there were people who saying somebody wrote a comment that was like Sony : we did Emoji Movie, and then it says Paul Daney says hold my beer or something like that. And I was watching the trailer. I was like, this seems pretty good. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe I'm not familiar enough with the cartoon to know.
I
Did
actually didn't
Cyborg
see
say booyah?
He does not.
Well, I actually haven't seen the trailer, but if it may pull like a Lego Ninjago thing, because that movie had nothing to do with the show that was so popular,
Right.
and that's really good. The show, I think it's on Cartoon Network or something like that. The Teen Titans show is just funny and subversive and all kinds of like fun stuff. If they do something different than that, then I could see.
Well, and I also
some
think
issues.
there's a live action Teen Titans show in the works somewhere,
I heard something about that too.
which
Yeah.
would be like Robin and Batgirl, I think. I don't fucking know who's in it.
It's Cyborg, Robin, this little like monster boy, and then this
Monster
goth
Boy.
girl.
Goth Girl. All right. Goth Girl and Monster Boy. I had those action figures.
I don't
should
know.
that.
Maybe it's just I don't know what this could be one of those Dragon Ball Evolution. Dragon Ball Evolution's a terrible movie, but I feel like people hated it more because it was so far away from the original that they loved. And this one, I don't know. I saw the trailer. I'm like, it seems like it's pretty fun. And then you go down more dislikes than likes
That's
and
wild.
all this stuff.
Did you ever see that trailer a month or two ago for the Into the Spider-Verse?
No, I heard about that though.
It's like an animated show where there are dozens of Spider-Men. Peter Parker's in there.
Oh, yeah.
Miles Morales is in there. Spider-Gwen is in there.
Is that where
And-
we get that meme where this one Spider-Man is pointing to the other Spider-Man?
No,
Okay.
that's from an old show.
Oh, okay.
But I love that meme. But this trailer is the animation looks trippy and cool. I would encourage you to watch that trailer because
Yeah, I do too.
I saw it and I was like, I don't generally care that much about Spider-Man, but I'm in. Looks pretty cool.
There's an animated Spider-Man coming out later this year in December, I think.
Maybe that's what this is.
Maybe.
Maybe it's not a show and it's a movie.
I don't know. I think there is an animated Spider-Man.
I think you're right.
Now in August, this is where trailers start getting very scarce.
Yeah.
And honestly, even though a lot of these movies that we've talked about seem set in these weeks that they're in, they could easily get pushed back.
Well, some of them will.
They get pushed up. And right now, August 3rd's got like 1 billion movies. There's no way all of these come out on the same day. But August 3rd is The Darkest Minds, which is another sort of a superhero type movie. It's based on a book, but it's not.
Oh, the trailer just came out yesterday.
Yeah, and Jennifer Yu Nelson, who did Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3, did this one. But it's kind of a kids going to school, learning powers type thing.
Yep.
So that's coming out on August 3rd. Christopher Robin comes out on August 3rd, apparently.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
I put in the notes that it looks like Hook 2.
Yeah,
Because
it is kind of like
he's
that.
like down on his luck and everything. He's out in the real world and he sits down in the park, and then all of a sudden Winnie the fucking Pooh shows up.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Forster, who did Monsters Ball, Finding Neverland, Quantum of Solace, and World War Z, doing this movie.
It kind of has like a Finding Neverland vibe to
Yeah,
it.
it does.
You know?
Yeah. And then we have Mile 22. This is the movie that I was trying to find that Mark Wahlberg thing where somebody cut in a whole bunch of other Mark Wahlberg movies. I was like, when I first started, I was like, Mark Wahlberg looks really young in this. Oh, no.
He's saying, "Ma'am, no,
No. This is another Peter Berg, Mark Wahlberg movie.
Ah, there you
God
go.
help us.
So then there's another one called Searching, which is John Cho and Deborah Messing. They're looking for their daughter. It's all shot on computers, essentially.
Oh, okay.
That's the hook on that.
Huh?
Yeah, it's shot on computer screens all the way through. And John Cho, I saw an interview with Kevin Smith on IMDb where he was talking about he apparently turned this director down at first. He's like, I don't think you can make this work. And then apparently he convinced him that it could.
The entire movie, we're going to be looking at computer screens.
I think so.
All
Something
right.
like that.
All
I
right.
think it's
Peter.
shot. Yeah.
Hey, Locke turned out great.
That's true.
And then there's The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon.
That looks pretty shitty.
It does.
God, I don't know what's going on with Mila Kunis. She's so talented. I don't know what's going on with Kate McKinnon. Like her
Yeah.
movie shit, Ghostbusters, Rough Night. Like she should be doing better stuff.
Office Christmas party.
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon might want to try to start doing the Kristen Wiig type stuff where she's doing some drama. I know she can do some drama if she wanted to, but and like sort of break out a little bit because every movie she does now, it seems like she's always trying to like she's a real like screen hog when she's on these things. She's like really like mugging for attention in those things. And every movie it seems like. So it would be I think she needs a break. I don't know. August 10th, another movie, Dog Days, another dog movie.
Yay.
This is about how dogs connect a whole bunch of people together. Ken Marino, who's on the David Wayne
Oh, that's funny.
tree, is going to direct this. Then another one called The Meg, which is a shark thriller that's coming out. That's Jason Statham. No trailers for those movies. August 17th is a movie called Captive State with Rupert Wyatt directing. This is examines life after extraterrestrials have come down to Earth after 10 years or something like that.
Hmm.
So that might be an interesting movie.
Like District 9.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know how they're going to shoot it. There's another movie, no trailer to it.
Right.
Another one called Crazy Rich Asians has Constance Wu in it.
Oh, there you go.
Based on a popular book. I don't know anything about it. They had an Entertainment Weekly video that I found, and they were doing a cover shoot or something, and they were talking about the book and everything, but it didn't really I didn't really pick up on what this movie was about. So
Is Rupert Wyatt the guy that did...
he did Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or he wrote it or whatever.
Oh, so who's the guy that did the Snow White movie with Kristen?
That was
Rupert something.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care as long as I'm right that it's Rupert.
Grint.
See what you did.
Ruprecht.
Why is the cork on the fork?
Rupert Sanders.
Rupert Sanders.
All right,
Yeah.
good enough. Well, then I am interested because if it was the
Yeah.
Snow White and the Huntsman Rupert, I don't care.
I
but-
had the same reaction when I saw the name. I saw Rupert and I was like, oh, fuck. Also on the 17th, The Happy Time Murders. Brian Henson coming back, and this is a Muppet murder mystery.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian Henson.
Wow.
I'll watch it. I don't know.
It's not the Muppet characters.
No, but it is Brian Henson doing Muppet stuff.
Sure.
So-
I think he sold the Muppet characters to Disney.
Yeah.
And I think what I read was that he's doing a Muppet thing, but with new characters. And like, if you show me like a comic version of Psycho with Muppets, I'm there, baby.
Yeah. So who knows if these will actually come out on these dates, but 3 Seconds is another movie where, ex-con works undercover, goes back to jail, to infiltrate a mob.
So
It's the
sequel to 8 Seconds.
Same.
It's the prequel to 88 Minutes.
Yeah, and 15 Minutes. They're all in there. And Nick of Time.
Yes.
And then there's a movie called White Boy Rick with Matthew McConaughey in it. This is another undercover, movie.
White Boy Rick.
White Boy Rick. August 24th. Both of these movies have trailers. Replicas, which seems to be a movie that was supposed to come out last year or something, has Keanu Reeves in it.
Yeah, this looks horrible.
Yeah.
This looks like all the bad parts of iRobot
Yeah.
thrown together in
So-
a terrible.
Keanu Reeves lives with his wife and daughters, and they find out that they were the wife and daughters, or at least the wife does. Alice Eve is playing the wife. Find out that they were killed and that he cloned them all back.
Nice.
And now apparently something has gone wrong with one of the clones, and the
Yes.
FBI is in on it and all this sort of stuff. So yeah. I'm sure when you read it on paper, it sang. There's also that Slender Man movie coming out on August 20th.
That's got a creepy trailer.
It does have a creepy trailer, but I don't know.
That trailer to me doesn't have like the typical horror movie like Truth or Dare type of beats to it. It has like genuinely creepy stuff in it, and I don't think you ever see like the monster.
Yeah.
Just like in out of focus shots and everything. It was a little more affecting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And then finally, August 31st is a movie called Ken. We don't need to talk about that. K-I-N. It's the last movie of August, and therefore the summer season or whatever. So
August and everything after.
it's essentially fall by that point. That is our spring and summer preview.
Yeah.
You know
get
what? It's a
hyped.
little bit. I mean, it's a little bit top heavy, front loaded there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to get excited about in April and May, and then I got to be honest, the rest of that summer's not doing much for me.
Yeah.
Till you get to Mission Impossible.
And we basically called this last year. We were excited about Dunkirk. We were excited about Wonder Woman. We were excited about, I guess Thor came out later on. We weren't excited about Justice League.
Yeah.
So for this one, I mean, I think the Incredibles 2, obviously, Infinity War, and Mission Impossible, and Deadpool, I guess.
Is
are like the
DC
biggest
going the whole year without a film?
Yeah. Aquaman comes out in December.
Okay, so it's just not in the summer season.
Yeah, which is weird. Aquaman is got that December 18th, a plush date to come out. And that means that Disney decided not to come out with a Star Wars that week. And it also meant that James Cameron didn't finish Avatar 2 yet, which, we'll be doing that every year probably. But
Are we getting a Star Wars this Christmas?
no.
Mm-mm.
I don't know why they decided to just do Solo on the 25th.
I'm okay with it, though.
Maybe they thought, well, we need to finally come out with one in May, god damn it, because the first one did. And
by the way, we're going to fire our directing team, and then we'll bring and reshoot half of the film.
Well, that's the thing, right? It was supposed to come out earlier, but they had to, they fired Miller and Lord and all that. And anyway, it doesn't look like very many good ones.
Mm-mm.
It looks like a bad summer.
Yeah, hopefully we're wrong.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We'll throw some mini pods in there over the summer.
Yeah, we'll have some many.
Yeah, we'll mini-pod something.
Yeah.
All right, man. You want to talk about some Mubi?
Yes.
Mubi.
We've been talking about this, a lot lately, but, Mubi is a great service, that, every time I go on there's something new that I haven't, ever considered watching before.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to talk about one that I didn't enjoy.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
And I know that's counterintuitive. We're in an ad, right? But I think there's a movie that I watched on Mubi that I don't think the movie was good. I think the subject matter is what was so interesting about it.
All right.
Now, the movie itself wasn't well done, but this is the type of thing that you can get into. You can get into some like stuff you did not know existed.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a movie called Fuck for Forest.
I have seen that movie too.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw it on
Backing away
Mubi.
slowly.
You would probably back away slowly if you were to run into these people.
Yes.
They are, they're sort of a hippy dippy band from like Germany.
Almost gypsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, they have this website where they go up to people on the street and they say, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And we'll record it, and then people can pay to watch it like a porn site. So like, there's like people who do like anything really, just get naked or jerk off or whatever.
Is this a documentary?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a documentary.
Help us.
And their idea is that they're going to save all this money by getting all this money, money from people who want to watch, regular people doing porn stuff.
Right.
And so like they go down to the rainforest and everything, and they want to like save the rainforest with all this money and everything. And it shows them at the one point, they're like on this boat and they're like going in the middle of the night to this village and like the boat runs out of oil and all this other stuff. Like, God, what an existence these people live. Like they have all this money and yet they're like, they don't really care about money and everything.
It's a communal life.
The subject matter in there though, it appeals to if you're just tired of the same old. I don't feel like that movie was very well done. I feel like it could have been a little bit. I mean, the subject matter is great. If they could have found a way to spice that up in any way, they really don't. Even when there's like actual sex acts going on, it's like,
Are these the people that have sex on stage at a music festival?
They perform nude.
Yeah, they'll.
I saw on Reddit. This was maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and there was picture and video. It was some Eastern European music festival. A guy and girl, he's doggy fucking her on stage while the band is playing. And I swear to God, they were called something like Fuck Forest.
Oh, maybe they were.
Like they were tree hippies.
It's the only thing, all I can say here is not in the movie do they ever show them on stage doing that, but I wouldn't put it past them because they didn't really care.
No.
Out of the 30 that are there every month though, you're going to run into something like that here and there, but it's more about appealing to your sense of, I need something different in my life.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, something's not going to quite register, but the subject matter was so interesting. I actually ended up watching the whole thing.
Yeah. Because you're not going to be exposed to this without some sort of, context to it. And that's the beauty of a curated service like Mubi. I watched a documentary about a Chinese fortune teller, which it's called Fortune Teller. And it's complete. It's a Chinese cinema where it's illegal for this woman to keep practicing this fortune telling, but she continues to do it anyway because it's part of like ancient tradition, stuff like that. I'm not going to run across that, on flipping through cable or something like that, And it was super interesting. That's really well shot. There's a lot of really interesting stuff, thematic stuff, and contextual stuff that give you the summary and why it's on there.
Yeah. And you got a lot of like forgotten classics that get on here. You have a lot of foreign films that you never got a chance to go see. Every once in a while, there'll be one of those mainstream movies that won an Oscar that'll appear on there that maybe you didn't see. Every day that you turn it on, there could be one of those movies that just sort of be like, oh, well, that's one of the best movies I've seen in a while, or whatever, that type of thing. It is that kind of service because there's some movies on there would have never heard of. And I've watched, and they're just fantastic. And it's like, thanks to this service, I'm able to watch it.
Same people.
Oh, it was the same people.
I guess they got a slap on the wrist, like arrested, pay a fine for like doing the sex on the stage.
Doing the sex.
Yeah. There's in the movie itself, there's only one time where they actually show like just full on, going at it or whatever.
Yeah.
And even then they're kind of like, we're just going to move away from that. That's
Can you imagine going to see a concert of a band that has at least one woman in it, and in the middle of like your favorite song, she just drops trowel. And starts fucking the guitarist.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love their music and everybody on stage is hot, this could be the best concert ever.
Sure.
But if not, things just took a weird turn.
Yeah. You kind of, everybody stops like, yeah, I'm really into this music, to everybody's kind of silent.
How do we react?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to access Mubi like we do, go to Mubi.com/Cinemasins.
Yes.
MUBI.com/Cinemasins. Go to that URL and you get 30 days free. You get a full month of trial period for this. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
No risk. 30 days. Mubi.com/Cinemasins. MUBI.com/Cinemasins.
Do it.
Are we ready to go on to rants and stuff like that?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I'm as mad as hell!
You've never seen me very upset.
Lord Jesus! Lord Jesus!
And we're not doing questions in this episode, so we're gonna go do a rant. We're gonna do some recommends, and then we'll sign off. I'm gonna go ahead and do a rant on Netflix ratings.
All right.
Ooh.
So last week I asked Barrett if he had seen A Futile and Stupid Gesture, and he said no, I hadn't, because I couldn't find it. And and I wanted to bring up at the time the fact that the Netflix rating for this was like 2.5 stars or whatever.
Out of 5?
Out of 5.
Jesus.
I don't get what people on Netflix are looking for. There seems to be a disconnect from what the average Netflix viewer is expecting to watch and what they end up getting in their minds. When I look at A Futile and Stupid Gesture, I know exactly what I'm getting into. I know it's a David Wayne feature. I know that Will Forte is playing this one of the founders of the National Lampoon's magazine and everything. I know that it's going to be kind of a nutty movie. And I watched it and loved it. Awesome. And so like I went back and after it ended, I pressed stop on it. I saw the rating on it. And it was like 2.5 stars. And I was like, what were you guys looking for? I don't know. There's got to be something better than what they're doing now with these ratings on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many people are being turned away by the rating. Maybe it doesn't matter at all. I never look at them really.
I never do either.
As my my gauge of quality before I go in.
No, and actually what they may end up doing, who knows, is so Comcast always used to have its own personal rating.
Yeah.
Right? The stars. It was, I think, 4 or 5 stars. And people kept complaining about it because it was like, this does not indicate the quality whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so now they've imported Rotten Tomatoes scores. And that, again, we've all noted the issues with Rotten Tomatoes scores. They're not end all and be all with the percentages. But that's a better indication because it's an aggregate. It's a better indication of, what other people thought about this movie. Not just one person they could plug in a star rating for, House on Haunted Hill or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So maybe Netflix needs to get in that business, whether they can do their own aggregate or some sort of tweak, because you're right, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a fair rating for a lot of stuff. And I'm talking about a lot of stuff that I watch on there has these just outrageously low.
I think the problem is that Netflix has gotten too big in the sense of their subscriber numbers, because this is the same company that signed Adam Sandler to a 6-picture deal, and the first thing they cranked out was Ridiculous 6. This is the same company that rebooted Full House, and when Fuller House came back, it was one of the most watched things Netflix has ever made. My wife watches this. It's a terrible show. The first Full House was a terrible show. We liked it because the kids were cute.
Yeah.
And she watches that too on reruns. And this new one is even worse. My point is, I consider at least half or more of Netflix subscribers to be stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe they're rating this movie 2.5 stars because they're stupid and they like Adam Sandler's Indian racist jokes.
It could be. I know that on the IMDb, the movie has a 6.9, which is right there at, I consider 7 excellent. And then right underneath that is like very good or just good. And 6.9, that seems a little bit low too, but it's not 2.5 stars, I wouldn't think,
right.
And yeah, there are some things about that movie that it might I don't know, it has different levels of tone throughout it. Sometimes it's just like it's doing a biopic type of thing where it also has jokes, but it also goes and breaks the fourth wall a lot. Like there's a scene that I love where Martin Mull, he's playing the older version of this character, which is funny in itself because that guy died.
No.
And Martin Mull is like playing the narrator, like playing the older version of this character. And he's like, and he talks about the first time when he's about to get on the set of Animal House. And Martin Mull gets on there. He's like, it was the summer of 1977, and on the screen it's like January 1978. Stuff like that that I love in it and everything. And I'm sure there's other people who are like, oh, that's just fucking stupid right there. And 2 stars. I turned it off now.
The other thing is you don't have to watch the movie to rate it, right?
I don't know.
I don't think you do.
Because you had all those people that were bombing, rightfully so, but for the wrong reasons. Amy Schumer's special, there was this massive, give this 1 star.
I think it's worth considering that those stars are being either manipulated by Netflix or aren't even connected to your vote.
Could be.
I mean, it's not like Netflix is an open book where they're just letting you see all their processes. You see 2.5 stars. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Maybe there was a boardroom meeting and somebody said, let's push people away from this movie and towards this other one. And I don't know.
Could be.
Have you also ever noticed maybe possible, and I don't know, I'll have to go back to Netflix after we do this podcast and see if this is true, where you see a rating on a movie and then you watch it and it's a different rating by the time that you're done with
interesting.
it.
No.
Have you ever had that?
I never
feel
noticed
like I've run into that a couple of times, but of course there's no way to verify because
can't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back and be like, I thought this was 3.5 stars or whatever. So I don't know. Anyway, I think Netflix ratings is broken and they need to fix it.
For sure. Totally. Well, having just written Coco Sins, and while we were talking, before we started this morning, we launched the Coco video. So
Coco.
That's not a spoiler. But there's a sin in the Sins video, and I wrote it, and it's about how the film, despite all of the magic it contains up until this point, just devolves into a run-of-the-mill chase.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized Pixar does this all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I ever noticed it, and the most egregious example for me, was Wall-E. Because Wall-E's like nothing you've ever seen before. It's mostly dialogue-free, and it's got all these interesting things to say about humanity and where we might be headed. And then the last 20 minutes is literally just chasing after the plant. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to chase after that plant. And it just feels like a crutch at this point. I think you can go back through the last 10, 12 Pixar movies, and even Inside Out has a little chase there at the end. So they're trying to create false tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like they feel like because we're in a climax, we better have a chase. And it kind of lets me down, disappoints me.
I agree. There's also, I feel like a lot of times when they put in stuff like chases or when they're always trying to get that 3D, scene, some play so that you make it look like you're, it was worth the upcharge for you to go in there. So they're and this, I think this happened way more when 3D first came out. It may still, I don't watch 3D anymore. But it's when 3D first started coming back into theaters, it seemed like there was always that one scene where somebody introduced to a new world, and it was like, we have to see their perspective as they go in and go down this waterfall through this rock formation and all this other different stuff. So it would make you think, oh yeah, that 3D was amazing, even if it was always that one scene.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
I don't know if the chase scenes ever get to that point where it's a perspective thing. It might be, like you said, it's just a crutch at this point.
And that's disappointing to me is all. I just feel like too many Pixar movies and the climax is a chase. And,
did the good dinosaur end in a chase?
Honestly, I've purged most of that fucking thing.
Yeah.
But I know at least one or two of the Toy Stories does. So it's been going on for a long time.
It is
Even
weird.
Monsters Inc. ends in a big chase.
I mean, things like Up and Wall-E and even Coco, great movies.
Yeah.
That are unlike anything. Yeah, they just kind of hit the same beats at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like the end. No, this won't spoil Coco. It's at the end of Coco when he's reaching for the pedal.
Yeah.
And he takes fucking forever to reach for the pedal.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he gets grabbed by the bad guy. It's like, did you really need that? He could just grab the pedal and we can end the movie and be fine. We don't need another gratuitous villain death.
Also, aren't those pedals all over the fucking place?
Yes.
That was driving me nuts.
He could have done it when he was in the pit of despair with Hector.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Coco.
I've got a very short rant. Sean Penn is an asshole.
Oh, nice.
Brought to you by Madonna.
Yeah.
He released a book that is getting just completely panned.
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense. But for some reason, because he's still Sean Penn, he's getting super promotion for it.
Yeah.
Like he was on the first segment of Colbert the other night.
Yep.
And everybody was pissed off because he was smoking on stage. I don't give a shit about that he's
Yeah.
smoking on stage. It's the fact that he was a complete nonsensical asshole during the interview.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
reminded me of like the Joaquin Phoenix David Letterman interview where he's just being a fucking dick. And Colbert was very generous with him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, why are we allowing Sean Penn to be Sean Penn? I went back and looked in the last 15 years or so. In 2003, he did Mystic River, and then he did Milk. And other than that, he hasn't done shit that was really like affecting like and really channeling his talent and shit like that. I don't think he's worth the love that is still heaped upon him.
We treat him like Pacino.
Right.
But he hasn't earned it.
No, and Pacino's still adorable. I was listening to an interview with him the other day.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of Sean Penn's problem is that he has always overinflated the importance of what he has to say.
Mm-hmm.
From even 20 years ago when he would talk about the Middle East and always felt like he was out of his depth there. And I always felt like even Susan Sarandon's Tim Robbins is the same way. Shut your fucking mouth. You're an actor. But I always have felt like he considers his talent to be bigger than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you named 2 performances I think he's great in. There may be a handful of other ones, but I've never even thought like he was that great of an actor. Like even Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you telling me nobody else could have played that? I know it's an iconic role. I know it's a role that's been oft imitated, but he's just playing a stoned surfer guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with Penn in you guys' eyes though is that he's not been in a lot of movies that you immediately gravitate towards.
That's true.
And he is a great actor, and I do believe he does deserve to have a forum if he's written a book to go out and try to to promote it and everything. What you're saying, though, is when he comes on and he's just a dick about everything, he should be a little bit more grateful about being offered the opportunity to pimp his book on, like, all these things. He was on Marin as well. He had a whole long podcast with him.
It's not like if Bill Hader came out with a book right now.
Mm-hmm.
He would have a huge audience and a lot of popularity, and he should be first segment in a late night show or something like that. Sean Penn is not relevant, you know.
Hasn't been for a while.
Yeah, and
but ultimately though, he's a great actor. He's been he's done a lot of stuff. It's just that he's been in so many dark movies that are not in our popular consciousness. And then he's got a couple there like Milk, and Mystic River is dark as fuck.
Yep. Hurly burly.
Yeah.
Sean Penn, I Am Sam.
Yeah.
Full special. No Oscar.
But it's just that I think just over the years is he was great in Dead Man Walking as well.
He is.
I mean, you could sit here and I could sit here and go for quite some time and tell you how many great performances. I couldn't tell you how many great movies he's been in.
Maybe that's the disconnect then.
Yeah. But I'll disagree with you on some part of it. But yes, I agree that to get on these shows and be like be all like, I wrote this book and blah blah blah. It's just this, and apparently the book is terrible too. So
Awesome.
Anyway,
it'll probably be a bestseller.
It will probably in some
already
way.
adapting the movie version.
Do we want to do news?
You on the mark.
I've got some news.
Yeah, go ahead while I find my news.
All right, so I don't know what's going on with this, but the 2 almost done non-Deadpool X-Men movies have been moved back to 2019. There's one, okay, so there's the Dark Phoenix X-Men that's going to incorporate Sophie Turner and McAvoy and all that stuff and be the continuation of Apocalypse, their main thing. And then there's this New Mutants movie that looks like a horror movie, basically.
And has Maisie Williams from
exactly.
Game of Thrones in it.
And Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, from
she's in it.
Split. And so the trailer for New Mutants came out in October of last year.
Yep.
And now it's going to come out in August of 2019.
Yeah, that's not good news.
Well, and what I read about Dark Phoenix is they're doing reshoots.
They're doing reshoots on both of them.
The studio felt like Kinberg's third act wasn't there. And so they're doing like $10-15 million worth of reshoots. Always great sign.
Yeah.
I love how, because they did some reshoots for, what was the movie they did some reshoots for that's coming out soon? And I saw the director saying hey, so not every time you do reshoots, it's bad. Sometimes, it's Deadpool.
Deadpool. Yeah,
Sometimes it's the test scores were so good, you want to put in more of what's scoring well. And I'm like, that is some good spin. That is some good ass spin. How often do you think the studio's like, that joke worked? Let's throw $10 million at another of that joke. I'm troubled. Apocalypse is a giant mess.
It is,
and that was brought to you by the architect of this universe, right? Singer directed that. He may never direct again.
Right.
And now you've got this mostly a writer who's written a lot of these films, and he's going to direct. I just think it's fraught with problems. I think they should never have kept going after Apocalypse. They should have just said a hard reset right here and now.
Yeah, it's a question of how many times you can reset that storyline and those characters. And I don't think you need to, because you've got Deadpool and you've got Logan, that you can play with, in a different context. And you've got these New Mutants. The trailer looked awesome. And I don't know what happened, but they're going to release that
I will say this. Maisie Williams has a terrible haircut in that trailer.
I guess.
Maybe her character's supposed to have a terrible haircut.
Are these the last of the Fox before Disney takes them over?
Well, okay. I do want to say something about that. That's still not a guaranteed thing.
Yeah.
Like, that still has to be approved by...
That's not a done deal?
Well, I don't know if it's the FCC or Congress or the SEC. It might be the SEC.
The SEC won't let me be.
Or let me be me.
Yeah.
They have to still approve that. That's not a done deal. And I'm seeing, I feel like everybody's just talking about that being a done deal. But yes, if the merger goes through, these would be the last 2 Fox-only movies. Mm-hmm. And then Disney will probably shut it down, wait 5 years, and hard reboot it, and put out an X-Men movie every 3 months, because that's how Disney do.
Yeah, because they'll have a Wolverine, and then they'll have a Professor X movie, and then they'll have all those, and then they'll somehow combine them into Avengers and stuff like that.
Yes, but yeah, it's just weird.
No, I don't disagree with you. It's a little odd and concerning because that's a big delay. That's not a little one.
Yeah.
All right. I saw this bit of news that Saudi Arabia has lifted a 35-year-old ban on movie theaters. I didn't realize that they had a ban, but the excitement about this is that there's a population of 30 million people in Saudi Arabia, and a lot of them are 25 and under and have disposable income. And a lot of people are speculating that the opening of this market could mean that it could be in the top 10 easily in the next few years.
Wow. But no, they have a ton of money. Like Chris was saying, disposable incomes.
That's interesting.
There's such a disparity in how everything is classified there.
This feels like good news, bad news to me, because the good news is that the movie industry will find yet another area where they can make money. Mm-hmm. The bad news is that movies that are bad are going to find another way to make money.
Yep.
And so movies that we considered failures back in the day, like The Great Wall, man, that didn't do anything, but it goes to China and it makes a ton of money. And we wouldn't be shocked if you saw a Great Wall 2, and they just made it for China after that. Like Matt Damon's like, you know what? Fuck the U.S. I'll just make this Great Wall 2 and make it for China, and we won't even have to worry about it.
It's almost like a large-scale version of what was going on in the 80s and 90s that we just didn't know about, where, like, the Clooney's and DiCaprios have been advertising products in Japan and China all along, and we just never saw these commercials because they're just going over there taking a payday. It's a whole other market, and now it's going to be that with movies.
Make it Centauri times.
Now, isn't Saudi Arabia... I should probably not say this, but isn't this one of these countries where women don't get to do much?
They just lifted the ban on women drivers.
So there was a ban on women drivers and movie theaters, and we're lifting them simultaneously.
Correct.
I can't remember. Is this there is a country that has a new leader or whatever who's like fought for a lot of women's rights in these countries
there's something. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Saudi Arabia, but it could be another one.
They're enacting a lot of social change out there.
They have a king too, right? They're a monarchy. Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's what I thought. Interesting. Maybe there's some new prince just took power and he's all forward thinking.
Yeah. Go women.
Let's let women drive.
Let's watch movies.
Fuck it. Let's build a movie theater.
We'll do it live.
My news item is Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Now, Donald Glover was set to make an animated Deadpool series with his brother. They were going to write it for FX. the network, and it came out a couple days ago that the whole thing had fallen apart and they were parting ways. And somewhere in there, a rumor came out, maybe started by the studio. Donald Glover clearly seems to think the studio started the rumor that Glover was too busy to make the Deadpool show. How much did this piss him off? Well, he spent almost all night writing 15 pages of a brand new Deadpool animated show script. It's literally him talking to a rhino. Deadpool is talking to a rhino, and it's like Deadpool will say something and ask a question, and it'll cut to the rhino chews. Go back to Deadpool. It's 15 pages. It references the Who Bit Beyonce meme that just happened. It references the cancellation of the Deadpool animated show. And he tweeted it saying, I was not too busy to do this Deadpool show. And he tweets out this 15-page script that's basically like a fuck you to FX.
Yeah.
And I have one or two misgivings with Donald Glover, but in general, like, I love everything about this. This is so Johnny Cash, it's not even fun. And I just thought that was worth bringing up, tuning people into. So.
Yeah, he apparently fooled them on Atlanta. He was going to say that they thought it was going to be him and Craig Robinson doing like just regular comedy show or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he sort of Trojan horsed it or whatever. That's how the article termed it, was Trojan horsed it to where he made the show that he wanted, because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to make the one that he wouldn't be able to make that show if he pitched it. So,
Right. But now it's gotten so much acclaim that FX can't do anything about it, and they have to keep going with it. He seems like the kind of guy that in general I would like. Now, he was quoted a month or two ago in an article, an interview, and he was kind of bagging on Lady Gaga. Because he was talking to, like, the quote was something like, I was at NYU the same time Lady Gaga was. It sounded a little bit butthurt.
Huh.
Like he wasn't quite getting the recognition he deserved. Because I remember reading the quote going, dude, you are getting all the recognition right now. Everyone loves everything you do. You do not need to be bitter right now about your coverage.
That may have been the Esquire cover story,
may
actually, where he's brash, man. He comes out and he's like, I can do things that other people can't do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right.
Well, he is, but but that I've seen that in a lot of really creative, like genius type people that sort of kind of know-it-all cockiness, kind of. Anyway, that was my news.
All right, now let's recommend some shit.
Recommend some shit.
Yeah.
Totes Amazeballs.
They're great.
It won the Academy Award.
Oh, for what?
For best movie ever made.
Who's going first?
I want to go first.
Go first.
2002, Hero.
Oh, with Jet Li?
You remember this movie?
Is it the one with Jet Li?
Yes.
Yes. I do.
I saw this.
It came on one of the cable channels. Like, I don't really remember much about that movie. Got your boy Donnie Yen in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Zi Zhang from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
And House of Flying Daggers.
Yeah. And Jet Li, and this is an amazing movie.
It's like an epic battle movie, right?
It is. No, well, it's not an epic battle movie. It's about the king of one of the 7 realms in China. A true story, historical thing.
He's playing a character from Dynasty Warriors, the video game. Yeah. I mean, that's not... He's playing a real character. Dynasty Warriors has that character in it.
And so everybody wants to assassinate. This guy wants to be the first emperor of China and bring everybody together. And everybody wants to assassinate him. But there's only like 3 people that could actually do it. Donnie Yen, and then these other 2. And then Jet Li's character, who's nameless, gets an audience with the emperor because he has killed these other 3 assassins. And it goes about telling his story. It's that Rashomon type of thing where he's telling the story to the emperor, but there's false narratives because he's trying to fool him, and then the emperor knows that he's trying to fool him, so he gives his other version of the events. And it's told in all these flashbacks. It's the movie, though. It's got amazing fighting in it. It's got a little bit of the wire fu stuff from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and all that stuff. But there's a lot of like practical, just long take Jet Li and Donnie Yen being a badass duo. And then the color palette of this movie is insane. I've never seen anything like it. They'll have a scene that's completely red, and then they'll have a scene that's completely blue, and it's like the brightest blue ever. And then they'll have a battle scene where it's all completely green and orange. It is one of the most amazing movies I've seen in a long time, and I was thinking maybe I'm just overblowing this. It has a super high rating, critical rating.
Well, yeah, the guy who directed it is Zhang Yimou. Now, here's the thing. When we are talking about Chinese names, Do we do the surname first and then the first name after?
I've never been able to figure that out.
I've always called Chow Yun Fat Chow Yun Fat.
Right.
But if you go to the IMDb, it says Yun Fat Chow. And I don't know which one. I've always known this director as Zhang Yimou.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done stuff like Raise the Red Lantern, and he did The Curse of the Golden Flower. And he did House of Flying Daggers. He's done a lot of these movies, and he's a really good director. He's a very visual director, and Hero is definitely one of those.
Did you see the premiere of Silicon Valley?
Yes,
where Jin Yang goes to the lawyers. Do you watch the show?
No, I'm catching up though.
But he goes to a lawyer's, and the guy calls him Mr. Yang, and he's like, it's Jin. In China, the surname comes first. And then he presents this letter that Erlich Bachman has supposedly written him. Mm-hmm. And at the close of the letter, the lawyer's reading it out loud, and it says, "Sincerely, Bachman, Erlich."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a strong recommend.
That's a good recommend.
I haven't seen it in forever, but
so good.
Yeah, I remember liking it.
I want to recommend, it's kind of a wreck-a-warn, because it's not a great movie, but I'm finding myself drawn to this kind of movie. This is called Better Living Through Chemistry.
I remember this.
And this is a movie that I found flipping channels, had never heard of. And it's got all kinds of people in it, It's got Sam Rockwell, Michelle Monaghan, Olivia Wilde, Ray Liotta's in this. And it's basically about what are you laughing at, Michelle Monaghan?
You were saying that Ray Liotta is in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the new Eric Roberts.
He is. So basically, Sam Rockwell's playing a pharmacist. Mm-hmm. Michelle Monaghan's his wife. And for whatever reason, he starts a fling with Olivia Wilde, who's this rich housewife to Ray Liotta who has too much time on her hands. If you're going to cheat on Michelle Monaghan, do it with Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also like into taking all these illegal pharmaceuticals and getting high and all this stuff. And so she starts leading him down this path of being a druggie. And he's taking from his own stash at the pharmacy and mixing these cocktails for them to have before they have sex and yada, yada. And then some government guy comes by to do an inventory on the drugs to match it up against his latest report. Of course, Sam Rockwell knows that's not going to work because he's been stealing these drugs, and he has to keep trying to juggle this guy and get him to come back the next day, and then somebody dies. It's not that great. But it's got, how movies sometimes go for that Fargo kind of tone where it's a mix of violence and comedy? Mm-hmm. Like that Katherine Heigl movie I was telling you about with Cyclops. James Marsden, because he sleeps with Jordan, Fast and Furious girl.
Jordana Brewster.
Yeah, it's trying to have this there's murder going on and have this little campy kind of fun tone, and this is doing that, and everybody's having a little bit of fun with their performances, and I just think Sam Rockwell is enjoyable in almost anything. The movie as a whole doesn't quite live up to any of the individual performances, but I had a good time watching it. It's short and sweet. Get in, get out. Lots of people maybe you'll like it more than I did, or at least as much.
All right.
Wreck-a-warn.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go.
I have no warns again. I don't watch bad stuff, guys.
I guess not.
Just don't.
No.
My recommend is going to be the Zen Diaries of Gary Shandling.
Oh, I saw some of this.
Yeah. It's actually about a 4-hour documentary when you come to, it's split up into 2 parts. The first part goes through Gary Shandling's, early years all the way up through the Gary Shandling show. And then it leaves with the teaser, the Larry Sanders Show stuff is next. So then the second part goes through all the Larry Sanders Show stuff and everything. It's always interesting to me to delve into these type of people they're creatives who are driven by something. They don't know quite what it is. They're always searching. And Shandling was like a way more complicated dude than I ever thought he was. Most of the stuff I've ever seen Shandling in, he's just a funny dude. Mm-hmm. Never thought he was going through all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And, he apparently was haunted by his brother dying at an early age. He was constantly wanting to be good and be appreciated for being good and everything. And he was always hard on himself about this type of stuff. like the Larry Sanders Show, I didn't realize he was I don't know if it's domineering is the right word, but he fired he fired a show running team like every year apparently.
Wow.
Like nobody was ever good enough, and towards the end of that show, he was like really just, I really want to get the fuck off the show, even though it had some of the best ratings HBO had ever seen at the time. And Larry Sanders Show, I can't believe it came at 92 to 98 is when that show was on.
Yeah.
It's pre-Sopranos. This is when we realized when HBO was like the network that it is. You forget about a lot of these shows that happened before the Sopranos, like that. And what was that? God, there was that one. It was Arliss that was going on at the time, and
Inside the Mind of a Married Man.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, there was that
Dream On.
Yeah,
Dream On, which is Brian Benben, and it. But yeah, I remember that show being. I never got a chance to see much Larry Sanders Show because I didn't have HBO at the time. I'm going to probably go back and watch it now because I knew it was I've seen a few episodes, but it was just one of those shows. A lot of the people who started on it. Judd Apatow was on there. I think Al Jean and Mike Reese both started on maybe the Gary Shandling Show. They were they're Simpsons people later on. But a lot of just. It's amazing how many people he either was friends with, like Bob Saget and stuff like that, friends with, or he sort of tutored, or he sort of like even Peter Berg is in this documentary saying, yeah, I got Gary Shandling's advice on Lone Survivor when I was making it and everything. I was like, really?
Wow.
And it doesn't seem like anything that you would get Gary Shandling's advice on. But
is that the Marky Mark movie?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, just hearing a bunch of people talking about him and everything, you may see some part of yourself in Gary Shandling. There's a lot of stuff like, I was watching it going, man, there's a lot of stuff in here that I very much relate to, but it's just a way more complicated dude than I thought he was. It's a good documentary. Judd Apatow actually directed it. He's the one who's interviewing all these people too in it. So I recommend it.
Nice. Good call.
Okay, well, that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. Keep going to SoundCloud. Keep going to Twitter. Keep going. There's a lot of places that you can come and comment on this very here episode.
Yeah.
This very here. Yeah.
Real. For real.
I would really greatly appreciate.
Yes.
A lot.
But that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott. Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
You had a lot of fun on that Avril Lavigne narration. It sounded like that one with the Italian scent on it.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Hey, gabagool, mangiare.
I did a few takes on that. There's also one I narrated recently where somebody had written it, and they were like, Jeremy, just say a bunch of gibberish. Editors, do your best.
That was the same video.
That was the same video? That was very fun. I'm still recovering from that sneeze. I'm sorry. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Fucking hell.
What the hell?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Barrett.
I saw the first trailer I saw of it. I was like, this looks good. And more I see it, though, it's just like, okay, all right. I think I've seen the whole movie by this point.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that.
But I'm still interested in it because Cena does look funny. Leslie Mann looks, I'll watch anything with Leslie Mann in it.
Well, and apparently it was made, written, and directed by a woman. And so, like, the messages of the movie are that the first of all, it's 3 girls instead of 3 teenage boys. And apparently the movie's message is that, well-informed teens can make good decisions for themselves. And so, yeah, I went from, maybe I'll see it to, maybe I need to see it.
Yeah, I was going to try. I think I was going to try to catch this at some point before it, even before it got on video or whatever. But that girl, Catherine Newton, She was in Paranormal Activity 4. She was like the girl in that. She was like 15. Now she's been in a ton of stuff since.
Oh, yeah.
She was in 3 Billboards. She was in Lady Bird.
Wow, she had a good year.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks decent. Catherine Newton was in Paranormal Activity 4. She was the main girl in that. She was like 15 when Paranormal Activity 4 came out. Now,
is that the one with the Xbox?
I don't know if it had an Xbox, but it was the one where it was mostly Skype going.
Oh, no. Okay, so it was 3 that had the motion, the speckles everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? That they put all the sparkles out there, and it showed the form of Toby. That's the only thing I really remember about it.
All I can tell you is you remember way too fucking much about these movies. Like, in my head, I'm like, was this a blonde girl? Like, you like remember Toby's name and shit.
Yeah.
That's probably, there's a couple Paranormal Activities I haven't seen, and the one where there's another one.
That's the modern one. Of course, the Skype one is super modern.
Yeah, 3 was the sort of the prequel because it was the kids. And
is that where they end up finding the coven at the end?
Yes.
Okay, that's 3. So 4, I think, is probably the
I don't remember any sparkly thing in 4.
It's you remember Xbox had this like Xbox Motion?
Oh, you're right. It was in that. I had no fucking clue. I thought they were throwing pixie dust in the air, and I was like, no, yeah, that's in 4. Because they had the like fake adopted kid or whatever.
Yeah.
and they go in and like there's a point where they put on it's a Nintendo thing. It's the what was the Nintendo?
I think it's Xbox Motion, which is like the Wii.
Okay.
Where you can play literally by moving around and your avatar moves around. That's how they do it. They have all those like
4.
Those pixie dust.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I threw like somebody was like did the Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal thing and just blew some dust.
Harmony Korine is like around our age, a little bit older, I guess.
He's older. He's probably I don't know. He's 74, maybe 73, somewhere around there.
That's not
1973. Not okay.
Huh?
You were talking years, not age.
No, it was, talking about the year he was born.
Okay, because Barrett said he's our age, and then all I heard was 74 or 73. I was like, well, I'm not that old.
I think that's when he was born.
73, January 4th. God, you know ages, man.
Yeah. Anytime I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, I'm interested in this person. Let me see what they're all about. And I usually look at their birth date and stuff, and I look at, are they my age? Are they? Right. I have this thing about people who were born in my year or people who might have been in my senior class at high school.
Why I'm always been a Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning fan, because they're basically my class.
Yeah.
And awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I would be the same way about them. So like I get, even though, and you know, you get later into 1977, you wouldn't have people who would have been in my senior class, but they're still born in 77. So I have people like Michael Fassbender, and I have Tom Hardy, and I have,
really,
yeah, and but then there's like people who were born in like, you know, August to December of 1976. I have the same sort of kinship with them as well. Danny McBride, Sarah Chalk.
Ooh, Sarah Chalk.
Sarah Chalk was August of 76.
Ooh.
The Sarah Chalk, though, I looked her up. She graduated a year before I did, so she's, I don't know.
Well, she had to go to med school.
It was
before
August,
she got
she had to go to med school.
Scrubs.
Har, Scrubs joke.
So, by the way, haven't seen that new Roseanne, but they got her a character in Roseanne. I saw this. I looked up the cast list.
Both of them are somehow going to be in the show.
Yeah, but she's not playing Becky.
No.
She's playing some other character, and I'm sure that there's like jokes about like, you know, her being Becky and everything.
No, I never really liked the first Roseanne.
I didn't either. I'm sure it was fine, but I just never watched it.
No, it was. I mean, I didn't watch it religiously or anything, but it was. I did watch it, and I thought it was very well written.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I think it has its place in TV history and everything is that there haven't been very many shows that depict the like lower middle class,
right?
And so that's why when they came back and everything, she's like a Trump supporter and all this other type of stuff. So they've got a lot of things to say about living in this kind of almost poverty, but not quite.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. And Roseanne was always just so acid about everything.
Yeah.
It was so funny to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought it was a well-written show, and that's back in the day when like Tom Arnold was writing for it and all that.
He was writing for it?
I think so. And then he became
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold, like the goofball. He actually was acting on the show and all that.
What's he best known for? True Lies?
Carpool.
Yeah, Carpool. The Stupids.
I can't believe we just came up with that many Tom Arnold movies off the top of our
What is
head.
Carpool?
Well,
I don't remember Carpool.
I just know it's a movie that he was in.
The part where he's in the bathroom in Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me who number 2 works for. That's right, man. You give that shit hell, man.
Show that turd who's boss.
Yeah, show that turd who's boss.
We're going to get through this together.
Yeah.